I'm amazed that there are good plans on the show again. Usually it's just like, blah, 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 Beast Wars once and for all. That's a pretty apt summary of the entire show.
Alert. Quantum surge detected. Vector 597.
Transformers, robotic life forms born far across the galaxy on the planet Cybertron. Two groups of their forces crashed on an unknown planet. A quantum surge then changed the Beast Warriors into Transmetals, who are joined by new comrades. Now, the Beast Wars rage on!
Too much Energon.
Welcome back, Maximals and Predacons, to another episode of Too Much Energon. Today, we are reviewing Other Visits, Part 1 and 2. If you're new to the podcast, this is a good time to cut in. These episodes are very interesting. Other Visits aired on February 8th, 1998, and Other Visits Part 2 on February 15th. So those are the two episodes we'll be reviewing this episode of Too Much Energon. I am one of your hosts, NeoCal, and joining me is the one and only Christopher Siege. He's there somewhere, I assure you.
Did I not come through?
I didn't hear anything after I...
I was all like, hello.
Oh, for some reason, the noise cancellation must have blocked that voice out. But I heard it that time.
Motherfucker.
Christopher Siege.
Goddamn
Here we
Christ.
are. Oh, yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yep.
It's a
Yes,
Discord, dude. Yeah, here we are.
Yes, here we are. Other Visits Parts 1 and 2. These are episodes that I remember watching, but I don't really remember, if that makes any sense. Like I remember
same.
Like I remember being a kid, being a 12 or 98. Oh, I would have been 13 at this point. Just turned 13. So I remember being like 13 and like sitting down in my room and watching these episodes, but I don't really I didn't really remember the specifics of the episodes. Like when we were coming into these last week, I was like, what even happens in those episodes? Like,
right? I was like, I've never seen them. But then we watched them, and I was like, I think I did actually.
Yeah,
there's so much. They're so plot heavy. Like more happens in Other Voices, Part 1 and 2, than the rest of Season 2 beforehand.
Oh, Other Visits, you mean?
Other Visits, yeah. Sorry. I feel like more happens in these two episodes than like the prior 4.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 100%. At least the last 2, anyway.
Yeah. Well, the introduction of the trans metals was catching everyone up to speed, showing off the trans metals. But other than Optimus's return, like, and the death of certain Predacons, nothing really happens. It's just showing off the transmetals. And then the Fusors is just introducing the Fusors. So I feel like this is... stuff is finally happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll discuss it more as the show goes on. Yeah. But I definitely like these episodes. I think
I have, probably, as always... Go ahead.
I think they're probably the best ones I've seen of Season 2 thus far. Although I do really like Aftermath, despite my criticisms of it and how little actually happens once the quantum surge goes down and transmetals everyone.
Yeah. And kills some. We fell in the lava pit of our base. If only we had seen this coming.
If only we had built floors.
No. Some sort of safety net.
If
only
only
we had spiders on the ship that could build nets.
If only we hadn't crashed our terror boards into one another awkwardly for some reason.
Oh, that's what happened, right?
That is what happened. They just weirdly flew right into one another and then fell. Oh, it's so dumb.
I'll never forgive that. Anyways.
Never forgive. Never forget.
Never forget. This episode starts off really cool. With like Rhinox, like a 3D
we see
model.
Yeah, we see 3D models of the like 3 main alien artifacts that we've encountered before: the standing stones, the flying island, and the
obelisks out in the desert or something.
Right.
Where that like green like dome appeared.
Yeah. The Unicron dome that showed up in other voices.
And it's revealed that the Maximals are the ones with the alien disc, and that those 3 sites all had a symbol that lines up with the alien disc that they have.
Right. We did find out last episode that the Maximals had the alien disc
yes, because Dinobot gave the original golden disc back to Megatron.
Yeah, because Megatron made a point of asking him, and the alien disc. And Dinobot's all like, "Oh, I gave it to Rhinox," and Megatron's like, "Unfortunate."
Yeah.
So we find out that. So we find out on this computer terminal readout thingy, Max OS. We find out that the designs of the alien symbols, or the alien sites that we'd previously seen, basically make like these glyphs that represent them.
Yes, on the disc, yeah.
Yeah. The shape of the outposts like correlates with the design of the glyph that represents them on the alien golden disc. And
it forms a pattern. Basically, if they follow the pattern, they could find other sites, maybe.
Yeah. I like Dinobot's reaction when he sees this. He's like him and Rhinox are in the bridge of the Axelon, and Dinobot is just like, "Whoa," in his beast form.
Oh. Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I like Dinobot getting along with people. I'm glad things aren't awkward anymore. And then speaking of awkward,
until they are.
Yeah, and then things immediately get awkward after.
Yeah, so Rhinox deduces that they can use the where the alien sites have been located, like forms a definite pattern, and they can use that to kind of triangulate where the aliens might show up again in the future.
Yes. Or another site or something, yeah.
Yeah, something to that.
But Dinobot's like, okay, well, that's nice and all, but like we need to eliminate the actual like threat for real this time. Like we got to fuck up Megatron.
Megatron's the real threat. And like we were saying, speaking of awkwardness, Rhinox is all like, "Well, giving him that golden disc back sure didn't help."
Yeah, and then Dinobot's just kind of like ignores that comment and sighs as he is one to do.
Yeah, and he's all like, he's like, yeah, I had my reasons, as I told Optimus, and Rhinox is like, well, sometimes Optimus trusts people too much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I like this I like this snarky Rhinox that we're getting
Yeah,
so far.
holy shit. I was shocked by how blunt
Mm-hmm.
Rhinox's statements were.
Yeah. And speaking of Dinobot, though, what the fuck is up with his skin texture this season?
I saw it too.
It's terrible. Like, did they lose their...
Specifically in his dinosaur form.
Yeah, like, did they lose his, like, texture assets from season 1? Like,
It only looks like mud up close, but for some reason it's really bad. Like they
yeah,
lost, like you said, they lost the bitmap, the for it, and they could only find an old JPEG that they had to stretch out over over
yeah, I'm just, oh, like, guys, like,
specifically in his beast mode. Yeah, it's
yeah,
weird.
just in his beast mode, because his raptor bits look fine when he's in robot form.
Yeah,
So it's like straight
it's a
up,
little
like
weird.
they just lost his skin, the assets for his skin texture.
And they were like, "Fuck it, no one's gonna notice."
Yeah.
And it's especially jarring when you see the level of detail of, say, like, for instance, the next scene is Tarantulas, and he's very metallic looking, right?
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that's like high definition, particularly in this episode. I'm amazed it's from 98. I'm like kind of blown away by the 3D like rendering they've done for the show.
Right.
I'll mention it a few times it stood out for me, other times. But one is whenever I look at Tarantulas, I'm like, holy shit. Like I don't like the character. And I'm not particular about the transmetals, but like they did a really good job of rendering them.
Oh yeah, yeah. They look great. They're
Really
design.
showing off the ray tracing.
Yeah. Yeah. Designs of the robots aside, like at least they look good.
Yes. Whether or not you like the design, on the show they all look stellar. Not Raptorbot though.
At least not in beast form, anyway.
No.
Uh,
And so yeah, there's Tarantulas, and he's in his beast form, talking with his creepy little mouth.
Before that, just before that, so like to quickly summarize, uh, there's like a new alien site. Basically, Tigatron and Airazor are in that sector, but they can't radio to them because Megatron built a new jamming tower at some point, and so Dinobot transforms and is all like, "Oh, Rat Trap and I will go and destroy it."
Right, because they have a jamming
Yeah.
tower up, yeah. And it's established that the Predacons have been putting up these jamming towers in past episodes. So I like that continuity.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember
I mean,
when Inferno and Waspinator like pathetically tried to put one together at the end of season 1? And it comically shows it falling over and Inferno going, ha 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 ha, and it crushing Waspinator.
yeah, and in a way, that joke is actually kind of revisited in this episode.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated. But yeah, so now we're back at or not back at, but so now we're at Tarantulas' lair, and
the summary is he's talking to himself, and he's upset and unimpressed by the Maximals, and then he picks up an alien signature, right?
yeah, basically,
Yeah. There's not much more to that. And the little computer says oh shit, what does it say here? Yeah, alien. He said, I knew some trace of my prey would be left after the computer tells him that. What does he say? 1 second here, listeners. He's complaining that nobody helped him set up his lair. Alien energy matrix detected. That's what his computer says.
okay.
I don't know why that was important, but and he goes, at last, it seems like some traces of my prey are blah blah blah, and he turns into like motorbike mode and fucks off.
Yep, and we cut to the dark side, and Black Arachnia is sitting at a
Chilling.
computer. Yeah, sitting very leisurely with her feet up on the desk of this like computer monitor, and
Being loyal to Megatron sure is boring, she says out loud.
yeah, she's complaining about her job, and of course Megatron is pretty much right behind her.
Yeah, she doesn't realize he's right behind her.
Yeah.
I'm like, how stealthy can this guy be? Maybe you should stop speaking out loud. I feel like that's a spider thing on the show.
And then she picks up the fact that she sees Tarantulas on the monitor, and she's all like, "Oh, tall, dark, and gruesome's going somewhere." And then Megatron's all like, comes down and is all like,
Where?
Where? And then Inferno shows up
out of nowhere.
Nowhere. And is all like,
in her face.
"Royalty, ask you a question, bitch."
And he's like, "Where is he?" Yeah, the royalty asked you a question. Arachnia.
And so
Where's
Megatron. God. Already, we're only like 15 minutes in?
You heard nothing.
Oh, wow, we are like 15 and a half minutes in.
Grid Baxon, moving fast too. And Megatron, of course, tries to radio Tarantulas.
Yeah, and Tarantulas, of course, doesn't answer, and Megatron's all like, "That dastardly motherfucker! Once again, he ignores me. God damn him!
I hate him. He ruined my birthday.
It
Say
cost
the
me."
word.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, Inferno is just all like, "Say the word, and he will burn my queen."
And for once, Megatron is actually like, not just yet, and for the last time, stop calling me that.
Yeah, as he chokes him
And
out
he
with
actually
his
sounds
dick laser.
pretty angry. Yeah, he does choke him out with his dick laser. Inferno is like, "Oh yes, harder. Oh,
it's so hard." Yes. And yeah, Megatron orders Black Arachnia to keep monitoring him and
keep hacking him." Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
where are we? In a canyon?
Yeah, we cut to some like open,
freaky
like,
alien seed.
Yeah, a little bit of foreshadowing here.
So this thing looks so good. Like, I can't believe that. So basically, there's a weird alien like pollen. That looks like it's meant to like kind of catch the air, and that's how it spreads, right? So like an alien dandelion seed, right?
Yeah.
But bigger. And it's spinning around, and man, I'm so impressed with how they modeled that. Good, they're showing off. It looks good, people. It looks good.
Looks good.
Good, real good.
And yeah, it blows through the around through the wind, and we get to see Tigatron. Haven't seen him for a few weeks.
How's it going, buddy? And he says the plant life is the first he's detected since the alien attack. Because the whole planet like
got burned
went up in flames, right? So now we know what one of Earth's extinction events was caused by.
What are you talking about? This is Planet Energon, damn it.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so the planet is clearly starting to heal, which is cool. Airazor is there too. And
off they go.
Yeah, off they go. And then we cut to a flying gorilla, a flying surfboard gorilla, and a flying bird dog.
Bird dog, yes.
Bird dog.
Sorry, he'd be a dog bird if he was mostly bird, but because his head is mostly dog, he's a bird dog, right?
Right. I think
I gotta get that right.
I think to bird dog is also an old slang term for fucking something up.
Oh, really?
Uh,
When you bird dog something? Huh.
Looking this up on Urban Dictionary right now. Bird dog. Okay, I wasn't entirely correct, but the definition on Urban Dictionary is to engage in the relentless pursuit of an objective or goal, often involving the accomplishment of tasks through other, less expedient people. This includes
Huh.
obsessive follow-up, nagging, harassment of individuals holding up the accomplishment of the goal. Comes from a reference to pointer dog breeds that serve as loyal hunting dogs, leading the way to fallen fowl.
Oh,
I had to
dog.
bird dog Larry all
Oh.
day to get him to sign that damn contract.
Oh, interesting. Today I learned.
I know that phrase from watching MASH.
Oh. Makes
Yep.
sense. Yeah, okay. So I was like, that feels like a boomer saying or like a previous gen saying, but
Oh,
you watched MASH, so that makes sense.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even a boomer saying, like, probably. Or when was MASH on? Yeah, MASH was on in the 70s, so.
Gen X / boomer.
No, that 70s to 80s. So yeah, boomer and whatever the generation before was. And Gen X watching reruns.
Yeah.
And in my case, a millennial.
And you. Yeah.
Although I do have a coworker who is like 23 who loves MASH.
Truly? Huh.
Yeah, I found that out recently. I was like, you know what? So this came up in a conversation on a podcast where where my friend and co-host told me that I was like literally the only person under 50 who actually he knew had ever heard of who actually liked that show. So
It's
I was
true.
like, I'm going to use you as a 23-year-old. I'm going to use you as an example. And
Good.
she's like, good.
Wow. So there's 2 people under 50 I know that have watched MASH.
Yep. Oh, excuse me.
Speaking of people under 50, we got Cheetor here. I don't know. It's a weak ass segue.
Speaking of people barely under 50, we have Airazor flying around.
Oh. Hey, leave Bird Mom alone.
Hey, I meant that in a complimentary fashion.
Okay.
She's got that strong 40s mom vibe going on.
Yeah, who knows what she wants? Yeah.
Who don't need no man, but she needs a tiger.
Well, she don't need no man, but if she happens to meet the right one, that's different.
Even better if he is also a tiger.
Well, I mean, if that's what you're into,
Clearly, it's what she's into, as we're going to find out soon.
Yeah, I'm so glad they've addressed this.
Yes, finally.
This tension that we knew was happening. We knew what was up.
We knew it.
We did.
Real quick, in the last scene when all the flying transmetals were flying and transmetaling about, they basically were just like trying to radio one another, complaining about the fact that the radio didn't work because clearly Dinobot and Rat Trap haven't taken out the jamming tower yet.
Yeah, get on that, guys.
Yeah.
Knowing them, their Dinobot is like riding like beast mode Rat Trap, like a car, like a go-kart again.
Like a Power Wheels.
Yeah.
I like that analogy that you made.
It's super awkward. It's like an adult, like a 6'2" like grown man trying to ride a Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
Well, he does kind of look like a Hot Wheels, or a
Power Wheels.
The Power Wheels. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, if they like it, so
So Tigatron and Airazor come to this ravine filled in this rocky area. And the ravine is filled with like all this like lush, like green grass and really mutant looking plant life.
Right?
And so they like swoop in and transform, and Tigatron's all like looks at Airazor with a smile and is all like, I'd forgotten what beauty this planet offered. And
she smiles back, and then they hold hands.
And then they hold hands, finally.
Yeah.
They're getting together. Hooray!
Nothing can go
finally.
wrong.
Nothing could go wrong now that they finally acknowledge their
this
relationship.
Show.
And then all of a sudden, fucking tentacle vines attack them.
What's this? A healthy relationship? Literally, this is fuck. What was that? Evil Dead, or certain anime, if that's your vibe moment, because like these weird, like seemingly sentient vines coil around all their limbs.
Oh right, I didn't even think of the tree from Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, I get strong, like creepy Evil Dead tree vines from this scene.
Right.
Like there's even a shot when Airazor's kind of like being constrained and she's almost like face up, and a vine shoots out of the ground to what appears like straight between her legs.
God.
Right after she yells Tigatron. Watch it.
Okay. No, I was just I was kind of stuck on the mental image of in Evil Dead 2, Lisa's like her severed head corpse, like just in stop motion, just like
dancing.
Awkwardly dancing.
Yeah.
It's unnerving.
As
it should be, really. Like it's meant to be, but
I'm watching it on Tubi, and it's right after 7:15. A vine like shoots out of the ground to where her like
butt
is.
I see that, yeah.
And I'm like,
it's a very brief shot.
It is, but it definitely looks like a vine shooting between her legs. Weird that they included that at all.
Yeah. Could be an homage to Evil Dead 2. Who knows?
Rewatching it in careful scrutiny, I could see that it like went from between her legs and then wrapped around her torso, but
right.
So they're getting tentacle touched and screaming in pain, and I'm like, these are plants. Shoot them.
Yeah, they're getting tree squeezed, and
you know what would be great at this moment? Can't use your arms. Vines are like tying up your limbs so you can't shoot a gun. It would be useful if you could shoot lasers out of your eyes.
Fucking eye lasers.
There's never a situation in which that would not be useful.
Yep.
Look at Cyclops. It's the head of the X-Men, goddammit.
Fucking eye lasers.
Right?
There's a reason why I put that on a t-shirt.
Exactly.
Which someone bought. So if you're listening to the show and you bought that shirt, shout out to you.
Someone bought it. The guy that bought that. Yeah.
Someone bought it within a day of me making that t-shirt design. So yeah.
Thanks, person who bought that.
Yeah. If you're listening to the show right now, shout out to you. And
also, it's just funny. Like even with no context, if I saw somebody with a t-shirt that said fucking eye lasers, I'd be like, you have a good point.
It'd be funny if it was the person who bought it like doesn't even listen to the show.
That's okay too.
Oh yeah. Either way, we get paid.
You get that sweet
$5.
$5 overhead. Yeah.
So it does have the name of the show on the shirt though. So whether or not the person who bought the shirt listens to the show, them wearing it is free advertisement.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
They're like, I don't know what this bottom text is, but whatever.
Too much Energon? The fuck is Energon?
They don't even.
What is Beast Wars?
What is Beast Wars?
What is a podcast?
What is a podcast? I like to think that that's canon now. Unless that person writes us and tells us otherwise, it's canon that person has no idea what Beast Wars is, and they don't even know what a podcast is. They just saw an ad randomly and went, "Oh, sweet."
So, listeners, if one of you bought that shirt, write into toomuchenergon@outlook.com and tell us about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're just going to assume it was someone who has never listened to the show before, who is now just repping the show for us.
Yeah. I like the way it feels. I don't know what the words mean.
I like that it's pink and says fucking eye lasers on it.
Who wouldn't?
Right?
So, speaking of lasers...
so Tigatron...
at least they get to hold hands.
Yeah, they reach their hands out, and Tigatron is
they
all
glow
like,
blue.
Wherever we go, my spark will find yours. And
man, I love that.
Airazor is like, and mine yours. And I was like, aw.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's this? Healthy Transformer relationship on the show? And of course, it's not... Okay, so it's not just that, oh, these are like sentient vines. I'm like, why are they saying goodbye to each other? Like, they've dealt with like animals and plants and stuff before. Giant fucking energy
Space
beam
laser.
from space.
Space laser.
Space laser. Fucking like a golden and like blue space laser shoots out of nowhere and right onto the plant that grabbed them. As if they're connected.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't like peaceful plant life just reawakening.
No, this is
After
some
all.
alien. This is straight up some alien shit.
This is some alien tech shit. So this giant beam, it goes all the way to space, by the way. It doesn't just hit them and disappear. It's like a giant beam that's still attached to wherever it's come from, engulfs Tigatron and Airazor. And Cheetor shows up.
Yeah.
Justifiably frustrated and screaming no. As like apparently like they seem to be vaporized. Because they glow bright blue before they're like sucked up in the energy tunnel. Cheetor tries to like rush it. And he gets like shocked and goes into Energon like overload.
Yeah, he starts shorting out and
he screams. He's got a good scream. I've never seen a Cheetor scream yet. Holy shit. He's like on his knees and he transforms into his robot form and thrusts his hands up in the air and screams no. Or screams ah? It's not quite intelligible.
mm-hmm.
And then
it's not really important. So
I found that pretty emotional. Like stumbling on your friends and you're like helpless to find them, and then they just get sucked up into space.
Yeah. I
liked it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So before we get to see Cheetor fuck up that plant, because he's got like a weird little whip, like a tail whip. I just wanted to see him go ham on the plant after that.
Just wailing on it like a machete.
Yeah, just fuck you, just hacking it apart.
Die, agriculture, die.
Die, agriculture. I mean, technically it is because it was planted there. It's not natural.
Haha.
So I guess you're right.
So me saying the wrong word ended up working out.
Isn't that sometimes the best jokes are by accident?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
especially when they involve
chew bubble gum and eat ass.
That is, listeners, that is a reference to our other podcast, Alphanumeric, a reboot podcast, where we do this, but talk about reboot.
Yeah, we talk about the reboot.
Yep.
So
Another mainframe show, but I imagine you probably know that.
Yeah. Anyone listening and watching this is probably not like, what's reboot? I've never heard of that.
Right.
Same animation team. And just in case for like the one person that's never heard of it, same animation team that did Beast Wars did a TV show reboot a couple years prior.
Yeah, animation and production studio. Yeah,
and it's good. I like it.
It is good.
So speaking of the web, there's some wild shit that like happens in space here. Like some blue tentacle energy.
Yeah, it looks like a transwarp portal, but this one's like straight up has like blue like tentacles.
Tendrils, yeah.
Like coming out of it. It's weird. Haven't seen anything like this before.
Yeah, so we get to see up close what it was.
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we're at the dark side, and we get to see what's happening in space because Megatron's has like a monitor viewing it. I'm not sure how, unless he'd have satellites up in space. But we don't ask questions like that here on Too Much Energon. Sorry,
except we do.
Ask them. We just don't expect them to be answered.
Right. How did the Maximals just? How are the Maximals just able to watch what's going on in the Predacon base? Who knows?
Oh yeah, nobody knows.
In that episode, Victory.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And Black Arachnia reports to Megatron on her monitor that Tarantulas is approaching the site, the alien site, but that there's another Maximal there. So we know that that's Cheetor.
Yeah. And then Tarantula shows up because we cut back to Cheetor, still
Cheetor, man,
still on the ground, reeling from the loss / potential death of his allies and friends. And Tarantulas comes up from atop of a rock behind him and transforms and shoots him. And then back at the Predacon.
It's the rock, paper, scissors, right? Like Tarantulas always gets Cheetor.
Right, yeah. So we immediately cut back to the dark side, and Black Arachnia is like, well, so much for the Maximal.
Yeah, and I'm like, why are they reporting back to us what we're seeing? This is weird.
And so Optimus and Silverbolt are about to show up at the alien ravine thingy. And Black Arachnia picks up on that, and she's all like, well, do we help Tarantulas? I like the way she says it. Do we help Tarantulas?
Do we
Question
want
mark?
to?
Right.
Fuck that guy?
I mean, yeah.
When Optimus rides in with Silverbolt, they see Cheetor knocked out, but right before that, Tarantulas is like, Optimus Primal! Like he's like very afraid of him, and I'm like, man, someone needs to fuck that Tarantulas guy up. I've had it up to here with Tarantula Man, is what I'm saying.
Just before that, though, before the last scene ended, Inferno jumped into scene and told Megatron that Dinobot and Rat Trap are finally attacking the jamming tower.
Oh.
And he's all like, shall we reinforce them? And Megatron's like, no, fuck them. And also fuck Tarantulas. With all the Maximals busy, it's time to go get back my alien disc. Yes, let us do that.
That's actually a pretty fucking good plan.
Right?
I'm amazed that there are good plans on the show again. Usually it's just like, blah, 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 Beast Wars once and for all. I mean, that's a pretty apt summary of the entire show, but
Oh God. Oh Jesus.
I love it when a plan comes together. So sometimes Megatron's got good plans, and I really like those episodes. This is an episode where Megatron has good plans.
Right.
So it almost seems like the jamming tower was meant to be a diversion. Because you said Inferno says, Rat Trap and Dinobot are finally at the jamming tower.
Right. So Optimus and Silverbolt show up, and
Optimus is a tricorder, or no, he's got like a weird medical scan device. What the hell is he doing to Cheetor?
trying to revive him, damn it.
Yeah, what is that?
He's got to save the patient. Clear.
That's what I thought. I was like, is this some sort of like emergency shock paddle thing for Transformers?
Maybe we've never seen anything like this in the show before.
Never. But Optimus puts a thing on Cheetor's chest and it beeps a bunch, and then Cheetor wakes up.
Yep, we've never seen it before. It appears to be very useful. So we will, in reviving fallen comrades. So it's totally going to be a thing that we see in the series going forward. Yes.
Every episode from here on out.
Every
Why
episode
would we
from
not?
here on. Right?
Why
we got
would
this
we
piece
never?
of tech that is incredibly useful. So why wouldn't we just keep using it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Longtime listeners of the show will know what we're alluding to.
Basically, completely game-changing technology will be introduced. A good example of this is the flying stealthy probe that shoots a beam at the Maximals. This is one of Tarantulas' inventions. Can't remember the title of that episode, but it forces them into beast mode and prevents them. Yes, and prevents them from transforming into their robot form. Pretty fucking useful, and I think he hits like literally every Maximal with it on that episode.
And it's never seen again.
We never see it again.
It's not destroyed. It's never seen or talked about ever again.
Pretty handy weapon.
Yep.
I think we've seen them twice. They're like Maximal, like blast shields, like riot shields.
Yeah.
And we're like, holy shit, those are useful. Why don't they just... I get that they're heavy and they need to have them at base, but at least it's shown them using that twice instead of just once and like never again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to see this revival pad plenty of times, I assume.
Totally. Speaking of things that we see at least multiple times, we cut to Rat Trap and Dinobot at the jamming tower, the aforementioned jamming tower, and Rat Trap is in the foreground, radioing to Optimus, and Dinobot is in the background, hiding behind a rock. A fucking eye lasering the jamming tower, which has Quick Strike hanging off of it,
like swinging on it,
and Waspinator like flying around, and they're both returning fire, and the tower is like teetering back and forth, and eventually just falls, and then and then Waspinator, it lands on Waspinator, and Waspinator is like, Waspinator is pinned like iron butterfly. And immediately I'm like, so you're just really like crushed under the weight of Inagata-Devita? Like, what? Okay. Because anytime, like, whenever I hear Iron Butterfly, that's all I just think of is like, yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, I missed that, but in like hindsight, I'm like, oh, like why would I not think of that?
Why would you not? Damn it.
I wonder if there's anyone who has no idea what the hell we're talking about. No, if they're R8, well, no, it's an older song.
Yes, it is significantly older than us.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, no, if they're our age, they should have. And then I stopped and I was like, well, no, that's that's a much older song.
That song is almost as old as my mother. So, and I'm in my mid-30s. So, yeah.
If you have no idea,
Song came out in 68. So,
68.
Yeah.
And what is it called?
Inagata-Devita.
Inagata-Devita.
Yeah, and there is a hyphen between each word. Listeners, if you're at all curious, just type Iron Butterfly. Like, just type Iron Butterfly into YouTube, and I'm sure it will be the top result.
Yes, and not only that, if when you listen to it, you'll go, oh, this song.
Right.
Yeah, because it's very popularly used in.
It's been used in a lot of
many
movies
things
over the years.
Yeah,
over the decades.
It's got a good jive to it.
Yeah.
Damn it! Why does Optimus have sharp teeth? He's a gorilla. I don't know why that bugs me. His face bugs me.
Don't like it. So yeah, Rat Trap Radio's back. Some bullshit to Optimus, and it's just all like jamming towers. Jamming towers destroyed. Warn Tigatron and Airazor, and Optimus is all like, "Too late, motherfucker." They did.
Rat Trap's like, oh
shit.
Dinobot kind of.
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, they kind of just don't really know how to respond, and Optimus is like, now get your ass to Mars and head back to the base.
Yeah.
Where Rhinox is meeting you.
Where Rhinox is, and he's still at his computer terminal, and he's watching a video footage of the alien, the space laser. And again, how does he have like video cam footage of outer space?
Yeah, I don't know why, but why I only brought up, wait, do they have satellites out in space? But I don't know if I've ever questioned that until now.
Maybe the stasis pods have cameras on them.
I almost wondered if they acted like makeshift satellites as well, but it doesn't explain why the Preds have
right
have unless they just got really good telescopes.
So Rhinox is watching the space laser, and he's all like, "Hold up!" And he pauses the video because apparently they have a PVR on the Axelon.
Yeah,
and he's all like, "Tap tap tap, enhance." On the laser.
Enhance.
And he sees 2 energy signatures going through the space laser into the transwarp tentacle portal.
That's pretty fucking crazy shit.
Suggesting that Tigatron and Airazor are still alive and have just been kidnapped. Space napped, if you will. Indeed. Cheers. And so the ground shakes, and the computer is all like, "Oh, alert! Perimeter attack!" And Rhinox is all like, "Oh, autoguns online." And we cut to outside of the ship, and
this is fucking weird.
the auto cannons come online, and then this giant like collage, like absurdly like cartoonish collage of like whole bunch of guns that would never realistically be joined together, points at Megatron.
Right in his face.
Right in his
Coming from
face.
like every angle.
And he's all like, I come in peace. And he gives this like hilariously nervous smile.
That's pretty good. We've never seen that expression by him.
I already
made
made the show art for this episode, but I almost kind of want to make it that instead.
I think the one you have is good, but we should definitely screenshot his fucking nervous, fake lying
right
face.
I come in peace.
With that fucking smile. It's close. It's pretty good. The one you have is pretty good, but in the very least, we need to screenshot and post it.
So, in the middle of the collage of guns, out comes a megaphone speaker, and Rhinox is all like, "And you're about to leave in pieces," which I'm like, damn it! I love snarky Rhinox in this episode.
Snarky Rhinox is great.
He's great. I wish this had been Rhinox. Like, I wish we had seen more of Rhinox up to this point, or like version of Rhinox.
He slowly become this, right?
Yeah, true.
He's running out of fucks to give. As
So
I like to say.
So Megatron is all like, "Oh, I just want to talk," and snarky Rhinox is all like, "Go ahead. It's a free planet. I'm busy." And then he just blares some feedback noise at Megatron. Yeah. I think he retained some of that Predacon code that he got from the transmuter.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? Or at the very least, he's had it up to here with the Beast Wars.
Yeah. He is tired of Megatron's shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of being tired of people's shit, Black Arachnia and Inferno sneak inside the Axelon, and
sneaky spiders.
Yeah, Black Arachnia puts like some device on one of the consoles, and she's all like ready to rock and roll. And Inferno transforms, and he's all like, "I don't rock and roll, I burn."
He's growing on me, Inferno.
I think he's just getting more amusing this season, because he isn't so much like burn. Now he's actually starting to feel more like a character beyond just like someone who just screams all the time.
Yeah, I'm starting to dig him. I mean, he still just screams and shoots things, but...
So the device that Black Arachnia planted shorts out Rhinox's console and takes out the auto guns outside, and Megatron laughs and is all like, "Oh, I guess we'll have to have a little chat after all, Rhinox. Cheers."
Fuck you, buddy. And I'm like, this is why you just shoot. Right? Shoot first, ask questions later. In my humble opinion.
So Rhinox gets all mad, and then Inferno shows up behind him and presses a button to like turn his chair around and bring it to the dinner table. And I'm like,
weird.
I'm like, why do you have a button to do that at the dinner table for a chair on the opposite side of the table?
That's so weird.
Like, I could see having a button in front of Rhinox on the computer console that you can press it, and it will turn the chair you're on around
and put you into a station. Yeah.
That I could see, but like pressing a button on the opposite side of the table to bring the chair to you, like that's weird.
It's yeah, now that you've pointed that out, that's odd.
Yeah.
Forcefully too. Like it jerks him around and almost knocks him on his ass.
Yeah. It's a plot button, damn it.
I guess it is. Very weird that they'd have a button like that.
So Black Arachnia shows up too, and she's all like, you take the Rhino Man, and I'll get the disc. And
I'm like, why not both just? Anyways, yeah, this is where I start to have problems with the episode.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about. Rock'em Rhinox robot.
Yeah, Inferno shoots Rhinox.
Rock'em Sock'em Rhinox. There we go.
There you go. And he's got his feet up on the dinner table, and he laughs heartily because he just shot Rhinox point blank, like right in the chest. He even like slaps the dinner table. He's like having such a guffaw.
A knee slapping good time.
And like Christopher had just said, so this is why the scene's weird to me. So it takes more to take out Rhinox, apparently, because Rhinox is immediately on his feet and comes up behind Inferno. He taps him on the shoulder and says, "That hurt." And he starts punching him. But instead of just decking him like a one huge punch like we've seen him do in the past, he starts like firing jabs at him. And like Christopher said, Inferno jabs back, and the camera,
cuts to a side shot of the two of them, like a close up of both of their torsos, and they straight up just engage in like back and forth rock'em sock'em robot jabs until eventually Rhinox punches Inferno's head, and his neck his head and neck extend up just like a Rock'em Sock'em robot would.
And there's it
even makes a like bell ding. And I'm like, why?
Oh, why? I again, for kids would go ha 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 ha
but I don't even think that they would though. Like, what kid was playing with Rock'em Sock'em robots in the 90s? Exactly. Like, it was a joke from like the writers who would have probably been kids in the 60s or 70s playing with Rock'em Sock'em robots.
I guess.
It's
a funny little thing, but the mood doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the Energon farts episode. The reason that everything in that episode fit, was because it was all comical. There was still a serious plot happening, right? But every scene had some air of comedy to it.
Yeah, that entire episode was just Looney Tunes.
And to insert a Looney Tunes moment like this into a very like critical like part of the episode is weird.
Right.
So, as if she had no idea what was happening 2 feet behind her, Black Arachnia starts struggling with the golden disc. She can barely drag it.
Yeah, it's amazing how fucking big this thing is compared to her.
Yeah, it's half her size, and she can't even lift it. She's just dragging it. And she turns around, and Rhinox is spinning his like gat and aiming it at her.
And he's all like, "You don't want to try it."
He looks fucking badass there.
Yeah, he looks fucking badass in this shot. Like the look on his face, the pose he's in, like the way the camera is framed.
I should screenshot that, yeah.
Like the way the light is reflecting off of him. Like,
I'm screenshotting this shit.
I'm really digging Rhinox in this episode.
Yeah.
And
there we go.
So Megatron shows up and is all like, "I believe that belongs to me." Yes. And Rhinox like goes to like because Megatron's behind Rhinox, and Rhinox goes to like elbow him basically, and Megatron like grabs his arm and fucking rips the flesh like right off of his forearm.
He rips his arm off too, but the flesh, yeah, there's like a not only is his arm off, but the part that's sticking out is like
It's
a
like
robo skeleton.
Yeah, it's like a robot like arm bone, like
Yeah,
complete
what
with
the
ball
fuck?
joint. And I'm like, holy shit, when I saw this.
Right?
And Rhinox like grunts in pain, in agony after this. And
After his arm's ripped apart.
I'm like, wow, this is like straight up some like Terminator 2, like the Terminator like ripping the skin like right off of his endoskeleton, except this actually hurts Rhinox.
Yeah, that is. So what happened there? He used his like serrated like floppy arm to cut off Rhinox's. Is that what happened?
I think he did it with his hand.
I'm trying to zoom in on the exact deets here. Let's see what we got. I can't quite tell, but something he did. Yeah, he tried to like backhand karate chop Megatron, and it didn't go his way, and his arm got sliced off or smashed, ripped apart. Gruesome.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Brutals.
Brutal. So
But yeah, he's down.
Yeah, so he's down, and Megatron is all like, grab the disc, let's go. And I don't know, Black Arachnia is just all like, well, what about the Maximals? And Megatron's like, we have no time for Maximals now. No, there are more important things to deal with. And she's all like, oh, well, when do we ever? And she gets all pouty, and then she's all like, oh, except maybe for that hunky silver bot.
I mean,
And
I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm like, huh.
Right?
So, so
yeah, let's unravel that real quick before moving on. Yeah, Megsy was like, we don't have time for we don't have time for the Maximals now. And Black Arachnia is like, when do we ever? Except maybe for that hunky silver. And she kind of like puts a claw to her like chest, and I'm like, does she fucking talking about Silverbolt?
Yes, she 100% is.
And part of me is like, that stupid bullshit, that makes no sense. I can't ship that. But part of me is like, I think he's the only one that's been nice to her on the entire show.
He is the only one who hasn't shot her so far. Which, I mean, that's a pretty low bar to hit, I gotta say. Which makes me kind of feel bad for her a bit. But
well, it's not that, right? Like, even the other Predacons are kind of detestable, right? And Quick Strike, I guess, isn't her type. But, like, okay, so, because he pulled a gun to her and he's like, I cannot bring myself to shoot a female. And I think he specifically used the word female in that episode.
Yeah, both
And
Quick
like,
Strike
oh,
and Silverbolt have done that, though.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, in that same episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, you're all soldiers. I don't give a fuck who or what or what's going on the other side. You point a gun at me, I point gun at you. And is that supposed to be the basis for her liking him? Is that what the show's suggesting?
Maybe.
I
don't know.
This is
the first time we've gotten a glimpse of like
her liking anyone.
And yeah, exactly.
Huh.
So the
Is it because
Predacons.
they're so different, though?
Hey, sometimes that works. Just like
But-
crazy.
But she's so scheming and manipulative. You wouldn't think she'd like somebody noble and naive, right? She seems too smart to like somebody that naive.
Maybe
What?
he's just got a real great bod.
Maybe I'm not a transformer and I don't realize how hot Silver Bolt is. I guess I look forward to seeing where that goes. Oh, I just noticed Megatron grabs Inferno's like extended like head and like slams him back down into his torso.
And after
At
he
the end of
does
that
that,
scene.
the Predacons fuck off, and
Yeah.
Rhinox is all like, "Oh no!" And then we jump
This
ahead a
is
little
bad.
bit. Very bad. How bad is
Thank
it,
you.
Rhinox?
Creepy smile.
So we jump ahead a little bit, and Rhinox is getting his arm repaired, and
This is cool. I
they-
love that shot.
yeah, he's getting his arm repaired in like a cargo hold or something of the Axelon, and he's basically like complaining that like, oh, I can't believe I let Megatron.
He's like, yeah, he's like Megatron sucker punched me. You should see the other guy though. I messed him up.
You should see You should see what I did to Inferno's neck.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
Optimus is he's like, yeah. We got more important things to talk about here.
right. And so so they like someone brings up Tigatron and Airazor, and Dinobot is like, oh, basically like, oh, they're just casualties of war. Like we should forget them and focus on the task at
What
hand.
a fucker.
I kind of agree with him in this scene, to be perfectly honest. At least for now. Like, I'm not saying like give up the search for Tigatron and Airazor, but maybe right now let's kind of focus on preparing for the alien invaders.
Just what I'd expect from a Predacon.
Maximals or Predacons, what difference does it make?
That's a good point. These aliens seek to destroy us all.
Hey, that was a good snarl.
Yeah, that was one of my best snarls.
And then Optimus is like, I faced the void fighting these aliens once before. And if that's the price we have to pay, and I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, then we'll pay it. And I'm like, hold on. You're just straight up like volunteering all of your troops to death.
Wait, yeah, that's a weird line. Hold up. He does say that.
Yeah, he does.
These aliens have been sent to the void before, and if that's the price we have to pay, then I'll gladly pay it.
No, he says, then we'll pay it.
Oh, then we'll gladly
So he's
pay
speaking
it.
for all of them. So he's like,
I feel like Rat Trap should put up his hand and be like, hold on a second.
yes, speak for yourself, boss monkey.
Yeah, he's like, it's like I always say, we're all gonna die.
I know. Shut up, Rat Trap. at least he acknowledges it now.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good scene.
Yeah,
We're at a weird scene.
Optimus like just volunteering like sacrifice for his entire troops. I'm just like, wait, what?
Or we can not all meet the Matrix just yet. No? Yes?
Yeah, or
live? Maybe. It's a weird thing to say. I know you're like fucking Transformer Jesus at the moment, but like maybe we all can't come back.
Yeah. Maybe you can only do that because your name is Optimus.
Yeah.
You're like a marquee Transformer.
Yeah. Special circumstances. Well,
Yep.
Gorilla Jesus volunteers the Maximals to die fighting, and we cut to the dark side, where all the Predacons, sans Tarantulas, are like around a beam of light, like talking about what they're going to do with the alien disc, right?
Yeah, it's one of those like chambers that suspends the golden disc in midair and makes it twirl around and whatnot.
Yeah, and they're bullshitting about what they're going to do before the aliens show up and come back to a scorched planet. And Megatron says, well, the golden disc has secrets that only I know. I alone know.
And here comes Tarantulas.
Tarantulas comes out of nowhere, and he's like, but which I alone can implement. And I'm like, oh, I fucking hate this guy. He's such a cocky, great voice acting, great character, but like, I feel like he's the villain to everyone, whereas Megatron's the villain to the Maximals.
Well,
that's a good summary of how I feel about him.
Well, and indeed, Megatron is basically like, I am tired of your shit. Time to die. And Tarantulas is like, well, and I am tired of your bad breath. I am no longer under your command.
The balls on him, right in front of him, too.
Yeah.
With all the other Preds there.
And in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And Quick Strike is just all like, what in tarnation? He's a dead spider. Or something.
He literally says that once or twice in this episode.
Oh, I know. I'd laugh. I laugh every time he says what in tarnation.
I die a little inside every time he says what in tarnation. I like the line from Megatron. He's like, I'm tired of your insolence and your scurryings in the dark. And I'm like, oh, that's a good fucking line. I'm going to steal that and use against my inevitable enemies that I shall one day make. And Tarantulas replies, I'm tired of your infernal chattering. And I'm like, oh, they gonna fight? Yeah, he tells him, you're not my real dad anyway, and
yeah, like
I'm going solo.
I kind of sped through it.
Yeah.
We're already overtime, so
yeah. Okay, so the long story is, they threaten each other, they whip out their wieners, they measure whose is bigger, and then they come to a weird agreement that they're going to work together.
They're going to work together to figure out this alien shit, basically.
Yeah. But it's interesting that Tarantulas is just straight up done with the Preds here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, wow, okay. Maybe he's got a plan.
Mm-hmm. And so
we're back with the Maximals, folks.
We cut back to the Axelon, and they're kind of arguing about what they should be doing. Dinobot is like, let's take the fight to Megatron, and Rat Trap disagrees because they may need their help in fighting the aliens. And Optimus is all like, fuck that. Our last truce was a joke.
I agree with Dinobot. Yeah, and I'm like, all right. Now we're talking.
Yeah. And then they get an alert because a signal is coming through space.
Fuck.
And
so something's coming back through.
Yeah, we cut back to the grassy ravine, and the Predacons are setting up some, like, I don't know, they're putting in like tent pylons or something, tent spikes.
Some sort of devices that they're slamming into the ground. Yeah. That we shall see what they do in a bit.
And Megatron basically asks Tarantulas, he's like, so, if you're not one of my guys anymore, why are you helping me?
Yeah.
And Black Arachnia reveals that Tarantulas hates the aliens and wants to destroy them. And Tarantulas is like, oh, how do you know that, bitch? And she's like,
I know everything about you. We shared a psychic link, remember?
I even know your porn habits that you don't want anyone else to know about. So watch it, buddy.
She's like
uh,
human on human, gross, fucking
right.
disgusting. um,
Human on Transformer.
it, oh my. And Megatron's like, oh, hatred. That is an emotion I can get behind.
So
Or something like that.
someone I know sent me a clip from recently from Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Boyle says, like, in one of the cold opens of the show, like Boyle says something along the lines of like, oh, it's like fucking a Transformer. Who wouldn't want that? And then Andy Samberg is like, literally no one wants that. And so she sent me the clip and was basically like, I thought of you when I saw this. And I'm
Lol.
like, I don't know how I should take that exactly.
Thank you.
Right?
Amazing.
I'm like, which person in this situation are you imagining is me? Because it's
Which one is me?
yeah, because it's because I have my
Maybe
own
the
thoughts.
conversation in general.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
That's a good line, though. I wonder if we can get that audio clip.
Oh, I definitely could.
Yeah. So what's happening here? They decide to work together. Oh, there's a weird like laugh off between an evil laugh off between Tarantulas and
Oh yeah, it's really
Megatron.
funny. They like Megatron is all like
They point at each other.
and like they start like stomping their feet, and like Tarantulas is pointing at Megatron. And I'm like, what is happening right
What is happening here? Wasn't that bizarre? There's some bizarre things in this episode. And their little laugh competition is cut short because Optimus, cool guy, flies in on his airboard.
Yeah, he swoops in and is all like, Megatron! And Megatron's like, leave here, Primal. I will deal with this.
And Optimus is like, dream on!
Oh, he's like, like you did the last time? Dream on. And I'm like, he actually blew up the Planet Buster last time.
Well, that was his plan. You just happened to be in the
exactly
stasis pod.
Like that was Megatron's plan. Like the Optimus just happened to be in the stasis pod, but Megatron's plan actually saved the planet technically.
Oh, because technically, without Tarantulas, they wouldn't have been able to program the pod, right?
Right, and Megatron had already like hacked the transwarp drive to rig to explode into the Planet Buster.
Yeah, so technically
so technically in a weird way Megatron saved the day.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
let's go with that.
So I'm like, okay, Optimus, I get that you're salty because you got blown to scrap in the process, but like Megatron did kind of handle shit last time.
And he tried to win the Beast Wars once and for all. So, I mean, he's been the most efficient at A, stopping the aliens, and B, winning the Beast Wars once and for all. Right?
All units maximize. And
this is cool. Yeah, there's a group maximize and a group terrorize here.
Yeah.
Like a mini kind of roll call as the camera zooms in on all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically a Transformers. It's a Beast Wars roll call, but without the actual like roll call bit.
Yeah.
And
I
tentacles are back.
Optimus has like 2 like morning stars, 2 like maces
on his back. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're part of the toy too. Because the Transmetal toys in this show are the Transmetal models in the show are like 100% toy accurate.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And so the plants start moving. An earthquake happens. Inferno screams and runs away from some vines. And the vines like wrap up and create a column in the air, like a landing pod, like a landing strip,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, something like that. What's happening here?
They're making a dome.
Oh, it's forming like a bioorganic like shell.
Yeah.
So when the energy comes down, it like transforms all the vines and shit into
A biodome.
a
A silver
biodome.
biodome. It will.
Looks like we're trapped in the biodome again, buddy.
I will be calling it the biodome for the remainder of this podcast.
Good. Oh man, Biodome's another one of those movies that I've seen way more times than I should have.
I've never seen it.
I feel like we need to watch Biodome now.
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list.
Speaking of biodomes, the top of the newly formed biodome opens, and it sends out a beam of light that causes all of the Transformers to one by one short out.
Yeah, what the fuck is happening here?
And then they fall to the ground, and the top of the biodome closes. To be continued.
Yeah, basically, what is it doing here? It's like knocking everyone out.
Yep.
With Energon blast.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's it. That's the first part.
That is part 1.
Aliens are here. They're spooky.
Other visits part 2. Cheers. Rat Trap's pulling the old maximal maneuver, hiding behind a rock.
Yeah, what's happening here?
Yeah, so after the big energy wave that happened at the end of the last episode, like all the Transformers are kind of fucked up, and like I said, Rat Trap's hiding behind a rock, and Optimus is there, and so is who is it? Dinobot and Rhinox. They're both on the ground, like face down, like shorting out, whereas the Transmetals aren't.
Yeah. Yeah, Rat Trap's like, I forgot how much fun Energon surges are. So it's not anything bad, it's just an Energon surge. But if we recall, anybody keeping track of things, the Transmetals they don't get Energon buildup. They don't need to transform.
Yeah, they don't short out from Energon anymore.
No. It knocked them on their butt, but they're conscious.
Which kind of kneecaps a really cool premise of the show, but that's a topic for another episode of the podcast.
Yeah, maybe when we do a summary of season 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, half of them are, or rather, most of them are awake, just not Dinobot and Rhinox.
Yeah.
Same thing is happening to the Predacon side. They're all waking up, but not the normies.
A show of force, direct and to the point. I do like these aliens.
Yes, I
Cheers.
must talk to them about their rude zapping us with that Energon.
Yes, I will have words with them.
Knock, knock, open up. Let me in.
Open sesame, yes?
No? Okay. And I'm like, it seems like such a Predacon. It seems like such a Predacon thing to just blast their way in, and yet they never try that.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it make sense to just shoot the fucking door off? But for some reason they don't. Instead, they like do a fucking like escape room puzzle. Does that happen yet? Not quite.
No.
What's happening here? Not quite.
Yeah, so Megatron can't get the door open, and Tarantulas comments that the surge they sent out used most of their energy. Which,
how would you know that, bro?
Exactly, and it's
They're a superior alien species.
Yeah, and that even goes back to the Trigger parts 1 and 2 from season 1, where Black Arachnia knew that the alien obelisk needed time to recharge to send out energy blasts from its giant eye laser. And it's like, how did she know that?
Well, just through observation, she noticed it. It couldn't just auto fire. It had to kind of cool down, charge up, and fire again, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Because they had spent 1.5 episodes on that island.
Right.
So they had observed it. I think Tigatron noticed that too. There was a delay in the shots. But that's different than this. This is just Tarantula speaking out his ass. Maybe. I don't know. This is a weird episode.
He did say last episode that he knew shit about the aliens, so
Right.
he got data.
Yeah,
from...
how? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe he studied the golden disc too, and
sure.
he borrowed it from the Predacon library, and then kept it for a couple weeks late, so he had to pay some late fees to Megatron.
But he never did.
But he never did, and then he came in and tried to borrow the golden disc again, and Megatron was all like, "Oh, you rented out the golden disc for 2 days, but you actually kept it for 7. So, I'm sorry, Tarantulas, but you are going to have to pay the rental fee for the additional 5 days." And Tarantulas is all like, "No." And Megatron's like,
"No!
Well, what I can do for you is, at the time of rental, you had the option to pay an additional $2 to rent it for 7 days. So I can wipe these 5 days of re-rental fees in exchange for you agreeing to pay the additional $2. Therefore, it would have been like you had originally just rented it for 7 days to begin with. How does that sound? Yes. Also, buy a Blockbuster Rewards membership."
That was the strangest skit in long. I just shut up and let you go with it. How about you buy a Blockbuster Rewards member? Anybody listening, we met because we both worked at Blockbuster.
Yeah.
It's so hard to convey the kind of inside jokes that come from working at a movie store, especially to younger people, because they never grew up with that.
I mean, to be fair, most people listening to this show are probably old enough to remember
that is fair.
Video stores. Yeah. So
I doubt there are any Zoomers listening to this. And if there are, hello, and thank you for listening to the show.
Yes, if you are a Gen Z and you are listening to this, shout out. Hail to thee.
Yeah, I think Christopher's got a nephew who's super young that's into Beast Wars.
Oh, he's even he's the generation after Gen Z, whatever that is.
Oh, he's really young. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's apparently running around the house yelling "Dinobot Maximize" all the time.
Rad.
So,
when Maximal in his heart.
When that War for Cybertron Kingdom Dinobot figure comes out soon, I'm gonna have to buy him one and send it to him.
He'd be so stoked.
I hope so.
Man, I think he will be.
Shout out to you, nephew of mine, who is not listening to this show, but if you listen to it someday, shout out.
Yes.
You know who you are.
Years and years after this has been recorded.
Yeah.
All right.
After I am dead and gone.
Whoa, hold on here. How much longer do you expect to live?
At least to get through Beast Wars.
Okay, fair enough.
And Beast Machines.
It's all about setting realistic goals, right? Right.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of realistic goals,
covering this podcast all the way through Beast Wars, Beast Machines, and the War for Cybertron trilogy. After that, I will be like, my life is complete. I've had a good run.
And you'll just close your eyes and your clothes will just fall to the floor. And
I'll just disappear like a Jedi.
Will I still be able to talk to you in my head
Uh,
sometimes?
you'll be able to listen to this show, and
Even better.
and it'll be kind of be like still talking to me.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
Shout out to Christopher's ghost for listening to the show.
Exactly. Yeah. Shout out to you, ghost version of me.
Shout out to you, ghost me. Oh, I don't. We've gone so far off
Yeah.
track. Well, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. That's what this episode's about. It's about Blockbuster and ghosts.
Ghostbusters.
Whoa. My mind just blew up a little bit. Now I'm picturing like a movie rental place that's like
haunted.
run that's haunted.
It's like
And
run
it's
by
like time.
Slimer.
Let's bust some ghosts at like a Blockbuster / Ghostbusters like crossover promotion. Why
Yeah.
didn't that happen? That should have happened.
That should have happened, really.
I can even picture it in my head. Do 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 do.
Oh, you know, like in the beginning of Ghostbusters, where they're like kind of sneaking through the like the basement stacks of the New York Public Library. And it's
Yes,
playing,
yes.
and it's playing that like slow like piano music. Like just have them do that, but in a Blockbuster. Like
A big, vacant, empty, dusty Blockbuster.
yeah, and they're like sneaking through like the old release racks in the middle of the store.
And instead of like
Every
a
now and
ghost
then,
librarian,
like a DVD
it's
will like fly around.
yeah, a DVD flies around, and then instead of a ghost librarian, there's just like a ghost Blockbuster employee putting away movies.
Oh,
Fond memories, great times. Okay, let's give the people what they came here for.
You go up to it and you're like, excuse me, and it like starts acting like an active seller to you.
Well, you can get 3 favorites for $6.99 or like 5 for $9.99. And you can keep them a whole week, but because we don't have late fees, technically you can keep them for an additional week or 2 after that. With no late fees.
With no late fees. Did I mention there's no late fees? Also, buy a Blockbuster Rewards membership.
And then when they bring them back 3 months later, they get angry at the $1.96 restocking fee. Anyways.
And then you'll agree to like credit the restocking fee if they buy 2 bags of Twizzlers for $5.
And renew their rewards membership.
Oh man. Anyway, beating a dead horse. A long dead horse.
People are like, have these guys like not talked about the episode for 15 minutes?
Hey, come on now. It's been like 10.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm keeping track.
Yeah. Well, somebody has to. So the Preds here are outnumbered. Back to the Beast Wars here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Optimus's Quick Strike was like, "Hey boss, I gotta," and he's like, "Quiet, you little twerp." And he's like, "But there's gotta." He's like, "Shut up." And this is when I realized Quick Strike is like literally a third as big as Megatron.
Yeah.
He's like a little dude. And Optimus pipes up from across the field. He's like, "I'd listen to a Megatron. You're outnumbered."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm rather busy at the moment, Primal. Please come back later. I don't want to play with you."
I have toys of my own, and they are way cooler than yours. Cheers.
And Optimus is like, "Well, if you're not going to share, then I'll take it from you. Hit him hard, boys." And I'm like, okay. And
I have a whole new set of action figures that my grandmother got me for Christmas. Cheers. All you have is that crap that your mom got you from the Salvation Army toy drive. Cheers.
have fun playing with old toys, Optimus. And Tarantulas presses a button on his wrist, and now we get to see what those tripod like devices set
yeah.
into the ground were. A web-like energy shield pops up,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of it being like an energy shield that like absorbs shots, it seems to bounce them off.
Yeah, that's cool. Like, have we seen tech like that at this point in the show? Like shield tech like that? I don't
No.
think so, yeah.
It's just like it damaged it, and then it's been like, oh, shield's at 50%. We've never seen it like just deflect shots. Indeed, Rat Trap even has to dive out of the way of one of the reflected shots.
Yeah.
And so Megatron, now feeling safe inside of this energy shield, he's like, now how do you figure out this remote? And he presses one of the symbols on the golden disc, and it glows green. For the first time ever, we realize that it's not just a golden disc. It's some sort of
Remote control.
remote control.
A
And indeed, the
universal
door
remote.
opens. Well, isn't that convenient? And that's what I'm thinking watching this. I'm like, well, that's oddly convenient. Why would that be a thing?
It works on my TV, my VCR, my stereo, and my alien biodome. How convenient. And it only cost me $19.99.
2 easy payments of $19.99.
On
But wait.
sale. There's more.
If you order now, you get 2 universal remotes for $19.99.
2 for the price of 1.
And
Too many remotes.
Too
Yes.
much remotes. And Optimus is like,
Too
Megatron!
much control.
And Optimus yells through the web shield. He's like, Megatron, share your toys! And Megatron's like, I don't think so.
No.
Goodbye. When he goes inside the alien ship.
I'm going to play with kids who aren't poor. Cheers.
Ouch. I feel that in my soul.
Yeah, me too. It was coming from a very real place.
I'm going to my rich friend's house. It's a 2-story house. They have a backyard.
He has a Super Nintendo with 4 controllers, the latest Donkey Kong game, and a trampoline.
I was going to say,
what have you got?
The trampoline.
What have you got? You have a regular Nintendo with 1 controller.
And
Loser.
your power zapper thingy doesn't even work.
You say your cat chewed it, but I believe it was you. Cheers.
You filthy mongrel. Man, you could tell we're products of the 90s because we both thought of a trampoline.
Right. A trampoline and Nintendo.
Trampoline, Nintendo, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yep.
So, the poor kids outside, the Maximals, Optimus is like, we haven't lost yet. We lose when we quit, and I'm never ready to quit.
Yep.
I hate it when he talks like that.
So he goes into beast mode, and we actually see him walking away from the camera, and like his little like surfboard things go back, like they flip back.
What
they flip back like behind his legs, and like they're kind
part
of
of him. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of move as he's walking, and I don't know, it looks cool to me.
Huh. Yeah, good design.
Yeah.
So they Rat Trap says some Rat Trap bullshit, and Optimus is like, well, let's think of something.
Yeah. Optimus is basically like, hey, can you get through this shield? And Rat Trap's like, tricky but doable. I got this.
So
basically,
Yeah, so we cut back to the two transmetal Predacons, Tarantulas and... Damn it, I guess Tarantulas isn't a Predacon anymore. It's Tarantulas, Megsy, and
The
Quickstrike.
Fusor.
The Fusor. Oh, he's twice as powerful because he's two animals, right? Right? No? Just annoying? Oh, that's a shame.
Just twice as annoying as any other Predacon. Yes.
I would agree,
Yep.
at least.
Yeah,
Me.
so they both Tarantulas and Megatron like kind of like look at him and like kind of smirk, and Quickstrike immediately like knows something's up. And so
They kick him into the main chamber of the base,
yeah.
as if to like test for traps.
Yeah, very comically so. Like we see Megatron, like a shot of Megatron's foot.
Yeah,
Just like
kick him
booting
out.
him out.
And then Quickstrike, his face looks on in terror, and he's like, "Oh boy!" and he starts trembling in fear. But then after the commercial cut, there's
What in
nothing going
tarnation?
on.
Yeah.
This is some weird bunkhouse, boss. Yeah, and
This
Megatron's noting how weird it is that the aliens
decor-
don't have...
I'm gonna say the decor in here is very like Halo Covenant ship looking. Before Halo was even a thing.
Yeah, the kind of organic, like with like energy structure. Yeah, kind of. I can see that.
Yeah, and like the shape of the corridors and doorways and whatnot.
Yeah, not made for structural integrity or for efficiency. Made for an organic, realistic feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It wouldn't make... So if you think about it, as cool as it is to design ships like that, unless you had some sort of like magical shaping, like telekinesis like ability, that would take a lot more resources, and it would be a lot less it would be less strong structurally speaking.
Structurally sound, yeah.
Yeah, so it's cool, but it's not as efficient or resilient.
Well,
I don't know why we're debating the...
I mean, that's kind of alien architecture in general.
In all
sci-fi. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never practical.
Sci-fi.
It's just designed to look weird.
For some reason, that just popped up into my head. I'd be like, well, things might look a lot more human than we think.
Yeah.
Because if they have engineers, they would make things... I just had a little, like, I just blew my own mind, like, a little bit right there. I was like, wait a second. That doesn't make sense.
But perhaps them being a completely alien species, their understanding of physics is much more advanced than ours.
Yes, that's why when you make corridors, you want to make them a shape that easily crumbles if anything ever...
Hey, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah. So Megsy is surprised that the aliens have had no reaction to the Predacon's presence.
Yeah, and Tarantulas is all like, "Oh, our beast forms hide us from our beast forms hide us from their scanners." And Megatron's all like, "I am done hiding.
Fuck that.
Terrorize, motherfuckers."
Yeah, he's like, I'm ready to face these bastards. And Quickstrike covers his eyes in fear, and just nothing happens.
Yeah,
just nothing.
And so they postulate that the quantum surge that made them turn them into transmetals has now rendered them invisible to the alien scanners.
I'm like, how could you possibly have come up with that?
Right?
What possible evidence or research could you have ever done that could lead you to that conclusion?
It would have been
Unless
great.
he's talking about he just thought of it when they were walking in the hallway.
It would have been great if like Megatron had said that and like got this like really like big, like excited smile on his face, and then like held that for like 5 or 10 seconds, and then like an alien blaster just like
Just
came out and
like
shot him.
shot him out of nowhere. Yes,
and,
we're invisible. Pew.
and Tarantulas is like, well, I guess not then.
Good thing I didn't transform.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was actually expecting that. But what a perplexing episode. Maybe things later in the season explain it to me, but I don't understand this episode.
Mm.
Like I don't understand what the intention was of the aliens here, but maybe they'll explain that later.
Perhaps.
Or maybe not.
As with, I would argue that as with most two-parters in this series, part 1 is better than part 2.
I've noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems pretty consistent throughout, like with every multi-part episode of this show thus far. Like part 1 tends to be the better episode.
Well, part 2 is the weirder episode. Like,
Right.
this is real. The wacky, wild shit happens this episode. Like,
Yeah.
Tarantulas is saying, well, it's not that we're invisible. It's more, to be more accurate, we're more one with the aliens now. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. You register as an alien energy signature because the energy blast changed them, and the energy blast was alien.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess I'll buy it.
sure. And Rat Trap's out there like, all right, you see this puppy here? We gotta shut this thing off, but we just can't shoot it. So we're gonna have to be clever. We're gonna have to blow it up. And I'm like, that's okay. That's that easy.
Yep. We gotta shut it off. And he pulls out like a detonators from his like forearm compartments.
Uh-huh. And he's like, I'll blow up this one, and you put one on the opposite side.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, I mean, if it works.
If it works, it works.
Remember when they had, the Maximals had an energy shield that like repelled the Predacons? And Tarantulas like made a device that like opened a temporary hole in it.
Oh, right, yeah.
And immediately after, Inferno just dug underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get. So whatever
Which
works,
I remember
I
at the time, I was like, "Wait, you can just do that?"
Yeah, the energy doesn't go all the way around through the ground. Oh, okay.
That seems like a serious design flaw, but okay.
Our shields don't go through solid matter, but it stops solid matter. What? Seems legit. Speaking of legit, Tarantulas is hacking the alien pillar? Yeah? Sure. Yeah, he's doing some cyberpunk shit, like some Decker stuff, like he's plugging Netrunner, there we go. He's like net running the aliens with his VR goggles.
Right.
And he somehow actually activates something. And I'm like, why is Tarantulas helping Megatron? Like, didn't he want to stop the aliens? Well, isn't he not helping him?
Well, I don't know. Well, like Megatron doesn't really want to stop the aliens here. He wants to take their power.
Yeah, whatever that consists of.
He wants to take their power and potentially use it against the aliens, which maybe that's why Tarantulas is helping him, because he hates the aliens for some reason.
Yeah,
which hasn't really been explained. Like,
he just hates them. Oh,
he just
those
hates
aliens.
Them. Those damn aliens. Those
shaking a fist. Oh, those aliens.
Damn you, gods.
So, after Tarantulas hacks the ship, a pillar comes out of the ground, or rather descends from the ceiling, and there's a spot that very obviously fits. It's like an advanced alien discman, and
yeah. There's like an indentation that has the exact same shape, but like glyphs and all of the alien disc.
Megatron's like, I wonder where this goes. And when he puts it down, he's surrounded by a beam of green energy.
Mm-hmm.
And he groans, screams. Is he in pain? I'm not quite sure. Yes, I guess so.
Orgasming? Who can say?
Ah! So
Why not all of the above? Yes.
it hurts so good. So there's an explosion. Rat Trap sets off the explosion, and lo and behold, the web shield disappears. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of lost where we were.
Right now the Maximals blew up the web, and it has Tarantulas and Quickstrike like kind of bickering. And they're like, quick,
okay.
the Maximals have gotten through the web. And Quickstrike's like, well, what about Boss? And Tarantulas is like, he will survive, or not.
Or not.
The important thing is that the base remain in Predacon control.
Okay, so yeah, this is where I thought we were. So the in the energy beam that's like getting Megatron off, like from the ceiling, a command chair comes down, a 3-prong command chair. And Megatron's
this
all
is
like,
more my style.
oh yes, laughing evilly, yes.
It perfectly fits me. Who would have thought?
It's just my size, and I am a double XL, so I don't run into that very often. I'm very pleased with how accommodating to the big and tall these aliens are. Cheers.
Thank you. I'm just gonna make a big and tall reference.
Yeah,
I wonder if he that beam read his like scanned him or something like that to what's the word I'm looking for, to attune? Yeah, or so that he could attune to the ship. Right? Like he could control it properly.
Yeah, which again, like I'm kind of with you here. Like, what is the aliens' plan? Because basically all they did was just deliver a super weapon to Megatron.
Yeah, I'm not digging the
Planet Buster had a clear purpose. Like, it was like the other moon was designed to destroy the planet.
Yeah.
The flying island was basically a social experiment, essentially.
Yeah.
The Stonehenge was, I think, supposed to be information gathering.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah, that was kind of its purpose, but this device doesn't really seem to have a purpose other than to just be something to give Megatron lots of power.
Or whoever happens to stroll inside.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, but to gotta sneeze. 1 sec. Ugh. All right. But
we'll have none of that. No.
No. Optimus is so. For anyone listening, Megatron has a sweet floating throne now.
Yep.
On the outside of the ship, Optimus and Rat Trap are there, and he's like, "Now we just need to worry about getting in." And Optimus is like, "Well, we could try knocking." And Rat Trap's like, yeah, like Megs is gonna invite us in for oil and cookies. And I'm like, you guys know what cheese is. You know what cookies are. You can say milk and cookies.
And
Like,
then the door
they eat
just opens.
garbage, but yeah, then it just opens.
And they're like, huh. But then
I like that reaction. Yeah, the door opens and they just look at each other.
huh. And then Tarantulas and Quick Strike emerge, and a battle ensues.
Yeah, and the Maximals do the Maximal maneuver. Initially hide behind a rock.
Hide behind a rock. Optimus goes to beast mode and starts like surfboarding around.
Yeah, with his like maces,
Yeah.
which can deflect energy blasts.
Apparently, we haven't seen them do that yet, but
Here he is doing it now. Batting them aside. He can actually reflect them too.
this is their time to shine.
Apparently.
And yeah, so they exchange fire back and forth and blah 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 blah. And
What in tarnation?
exactly. That's exactly where I was going to. The ground starts shaking, and Quick Strike is all like, "What in tarnation?"
And as the ship begins to ascend, for some mysterious reason, Tarantulas and Quick Strike jump out of the ship.
Out of here!
Why do they jump out?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No, none whatsoever. But I'm out of here is actually like, okay, so I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast that these weren't episodes that I remembered particularly well.
Right. But you still had phrases that you remembered.
There are a number of lines in these episodes, and in part 2 in particular, that have become things that I have quoted over the years, well into adulthood. That I'm like, oh, it's a Beast Wars quote. But I never remembered that it was from this episode in particular.
It just stuck with you.
I'm out of here is one of them.
Huh.
Yeah.
If you said that in your accent, if you said that in that accent, I would have assumed it was a Lethal Enforcers 2 line.
You're never going to get me, Sheriff.
Exactly.
Fucking
you can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Get back or I'll blow him away.
Yeah, there you go.
I loved Lethal.
Your ability to recite those sound bites is eerie.
Really?
Like, that is weird that you even know what I'm talking about, let alone can quote it so well. And not even Lethal Enforcers. Lethal Enforcers 2, Gunfighters.
Yeah, 2 specifically. The Old West one. Because the first one wasn't set in the Old West. The first one was like contemporary and you were just cops.
Yeah, you were just in like downtown LA or something.
Yeah.
But the Western one, well, that changes everything.
Eat lid.
Oh god. That guy. The sound bites with all the different enemies. And the sound bites accompanied to like how fast they would shoot or how they would attack you.
Yeah. Yep. Lethal Enforcers. Good shit. With the Justifier light guns.
Right.
Yeah, the light guns were called the Justifier.
Is that what they were called?
Yep. I used to have that set. Not only did I have that set, I had the box set that had 2 Justifiers, the Sega Genesis cartridge, and the Sega CD disc version of the game. Yeah.
Holy shit, you're a serious business. No wonder you know all the lines.
Yeah, it was something that I got in probably like 95, like a video store near my house when I was a kid was selling it, and so my mom bought it for me.
Amazing.
Yep.
What a weird era of technology the mid-90s was.
What a time to be alive.
Right?
Playing Lethal Enforcers and watching Beast Wars.
Right.
Speaking of Lethal Enforcers and Beast Wars,
Lethal Enforcers 3. No.
Beast Wars.
Lethal Enforcers 3.
Planet
Beast Wars.
Energon.
Planet Energon. So, one of the tendrils turns on this giant, the biodome, and just shoots Optimus and Rat Trap like a giant green energy blast, knocks their ass out. And as it's like ascending into the air, Quickstrike and Tarantulas just look up at it. Tarantulas is like, well, ain't that a sight? And now that I have it paused right as the scene as they're looking at it, saying that, the bottom of it kind of looks a lot like let's just say an ovipositor. Yeah, let's say
a what?
An ovipositor. To dispense of ovum.
Yes, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So an ovipositor is like a tube-like organ used by some insects for laying eggs. So it's usually like a spine or a pointy thing, and usually creatures have them when they're like inserting eggs, say, into another creature or something like that.
Right.
But it's also well, let's just say the bottom of the biodome here looks like something you'll see on Bad Dragon.
Okay.
Or maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say that either. In which case, never mind. Let's move on.
It's kind of like HR Giger looking.
It's a little bit Giger or Geiger-esque, yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's Giger. It's pronounced Giger, but I so many people say Geiger that it's entrenched in my brain.
I actually don't know which is the proper way to pronounce it. I've just always said Giger, but
I'm not really sure. I've heard both. But yes, it is very like Giger-esque. And indeed, it blows its green load all over the ground.
It certainly does. Right from the tip, too.
I'm gonna have to screenshot this. So as it's splooging everywhere, it's making a green light come out.
Yeah.
And the green light is slowly, like, in an arc from right underneath it, going outwards.
Mm-hmm.
And as it's hitting everyone, Maximal and Predacon alike,
it is lifting them off the ground.
They're being suspended in this green light.
Yeah.
Well, ain't that some shit.
Speaking of ain't that some shit,
Rat Trap evades it by using the Maximal maneuver. What the fuck? I forgot about that. He literally but I like that Tarantula screams no, even though it doesn't hurt him. And but somehow Rat Trap it lifts everyone up, including the unconscious.
Yeah.
Ones too. But Rat Trap's able to avoid it by hiding behind a rock. So it's not like it's like a fluid, it's the actual light itself that's making them suspended.
Who knows how this alien science works?
I certainly don't.
Neither do I.
And I'm sure neither did the show creators. And then some more perplexing shit happens.
Yeah, Megatron's face just comes right out of the biodome. A giant Megatron face.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's pushed against the inside. Like it's shaped from the exoskeleton, the rubbery biomass of the ship.
Yeah, and his eyes and mouth are like emitting light.
Yes.
It's kind of weird, but it's also kind of cool.
It's I don't understand why, but I still like it. And Tarantulas is like, Megatron? Where are the aliens?
I control their weapon now.
The aliens can suck my floppy dick.
They can take my dick laser.
And
Yes.
they'll thank me for it. And Tarantulas realizing that, Megatron's looking pretty fly right now. He's like, congratulations on your success, great Megatron. And
Indeed.
talking as the ship, by the way. He's having a conversation with the ship. The face. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. He's like, indeed.
Indeed. And since I am the top motherfucker in this situation now, I don't need you anymore. Consider our alliance terminated. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Tarantulas. I'm
Don't
not
call
killing
me.
you. I'm just dropping you really high. And he just drops him on the ground.
I won't call you, and you don't call me, because I won't answer. And I'll know it's you, because I have call display.
Also,
And don't even try
fuck
to
you.
star 67, because that does not work on me. No.
Also, I know that you don't even use a phone. And so Megaship, I don't
Megaship.
Megaship
Megadome.
Megadome, there we go. Megadome like talking this is so wacky. I don't remember this as a kid. Megadome is like, and now for the rest of my loyal troops, enter me. And he sends out a purple light beam. Interestingly, it only makes the regular Predacons glow purple. The fusors and the transmetals don't.
Well, because
that.
yeah, because the transmetals were already affected by alien energy. So
Yeah, interesting.
I'm sure that has something to do with it. Maybe?
Yeah. I just thought it was
Probably.
interesting. It was only who was it? Black Arachnia and Waspinator and Inferno that glowed purple there.
Mm-hmm.
Like a friend or foe like recognition or something.
Right.
And they're like, now we will bring our honored guest as well. And they all turn into purple energy beams and shoot up inside Megadome's ovipositor.
Yep.
Never a sentence I never thought I'd ever say, or really could even fathom.
I don't even know what an ovipositor is, so
that's what it is.
Today I learned, yes, but I didn't really. I heard a new word, but I still don't know what it means. So I didn't really learn anything. No.
Well, I mentioned the part about the insect and laying its egg.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's an organ for insects to stab eggs into things. Let's just say that.
Right, yeah.
And some people may have a fetish for that. And I will leave it at that, good sir.
I'm sure they do.
And so the only one awake right now, because they sucked Optimus into the ship, is Rat Trap. He's just there by himself. And he's like, oh man, what else could go wrong? Yeah. And then something goes wrong.
I had to ask.
The ship teleports.
Yeah, it teleports away onto the top of a open mountain top.
And
the snowy mountaintop because of reasons. Why did it teleport here exactly? Do we know? I've watched this episode twice.
It's the site where
right. It's where Inferno found the alien disc, right?
I don't know why that's of importance.
But I don't but I don't know why specifically that's where they needed to go.
And it seems like Megatron purposefully brought them here. They didn't really teleport. They shot up in a beam into the sky, similar to the energy beam that we saw earlier that grabbed Tigatron and Airazor.
Yeah.
So they shoot up into the sky as if into that like tentacle thing in the portal almost, but
Yeah.
then shoot back down. So it's kind of like teleportation, but not. I'm very confused how that worked.
I think at
But-
one point later in the episode, they actually do call it teleportation or
They
transportation
do.
or something.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
But I just noticed that it's an interesting form. Usually teleportation in sci-fi is depicted as something like glowing or like dissipating and disappearing and then just reappearing. Not like shooting up into the sky and then shooting back down.
Like in Star Trek.
Like in Star Trek. Sorry, yeah, Tarantulas pointed a gun at Rat Trap. And that's when Rat Trap was like, "Oh, I had to open my big mouth or something."
Oh, right.
So he's still alive, but in bad shape.
Yeah.
So those two are still tangoing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know why Megatron came there. And we get Optimus. We get Optimus inside a gooey, scary xenomorph ship. Such a weird episode. And he's unconscious still. And he's being suspended by wires. Because that's an evil way of trapping someone.
Yep. And so Inferno points out that where they are is where he found the alien disc, and Black Arachnia is like, "Why aren't we attacking the Maximals? Why are we here?" And Megatron's like, "Patience, my dear Spider. Let them prepare their defenses. It will give me time to achieve my real goal. Cheers."
Yeah.
And then he is like, "Waspinator, Inferno, I have a most important job for you.
I need you to put up another communication relay.
I need you to put up another jamming tower. Cheers."
It's of the utmost importance, I assure you. Can you imagine?
The day cannot be won without it. No.
It's definitely not to just get you out of my hair for the afternoon.
Well, finally, Waspinator gets important job. We cut back to the Maximal base, and like Cheetor and Silverbolt are pressing some buttons, and Silverbolt complains that he could have it could have found the biodome easier just like following his nose like Toucan Sam. And Rhinox wakes up in the CR chamber and laments that he's tired of waking up in the slagging CR chamber.
He has been left alone waking up in one of those many episodes.
Yeah, especially in the past, like, I don't know, like 10 episodes now?
About that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's actually missed vital plot points being inside of a CR chamber.
Right.
The only reason he's not
Like-
transmetal right now is because of that.
Right, yeah. Like the whole Optimus dying thing. Like,
Yeah,
where's
he was
Optimus?
inside the CR chamber.
And it's like, where the fuck were you, buddy? Oh wait, you were in the sauna.
So it's kind of funny that they draw attention to that.
Yeah. And
R
Dino
chamber. I've been calling it the CR chamber. Rhinox just called it the R chamber. Am I adding a C?
No, it's been called the CR chamber
Oh, okay.
throughout the entire show. I think Rhinox is just now. I've never heard it called the R chamber up to this
Until
point.
just now. Oh, okay.
I've heard it called the CR chamber and the restoration chamber.
I wonder what does the C stand for? The complete restoration chamber?
Circuitry.
Cybertron restoration chamber? Yeah, sure.
I always thought it was circuitry, but I have nothing to base that on. It's just always like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, circuitry restoration. That's what CR means.
Seems legit to me.
Yep. Made sense to 11-year-old Christopher, so it makes sense to 36-year-old Christopher. Damn it.
Why not? Makes sense to me. It's a
Yep.
magic healing tank. Hot tub heal machine.
Yeah.
So the gist of this scene is they're trying to scan for the base, but two signals are inbound coming to the ship. Right?
Yeah, one's Rat Trap and the other is Tarantulas?
Tarantula Man.
Tarantula Man.
And then we're met with the very important mission that Inferno and Waspinator are on.
Yep, they're flying toward they're flying somewhere carrying some cargo, and Waspinator is all like, Waspinator not think this job very important. Every job for the royalty is a gift.
And then he like shoots his jet blast in like Waspinator's face.
So he basically just farted in Waspinator's face.
Oh yeah, I guess so. And what does he say right there? He says something funny.
Antbot major suck up.
Yeah.
And
I'm like, yeah.
I don't think, well, Inferno, I don't know, like he's not like
I wouldn't say he's a suck up.
He's not a suck up. He's just so stupid that he's loyal.
He's just loyal. Like, I wouldn't say Scorponok was a suck up, but like when somebody is sucking up to cover their ass, like Tarantulas has been a suck up to Megatron. But so I wouldn't say that exactly. But I wouldn't say like Inferno or Scorponok were suck ups. I'd just say they were loyal. Scorponok a little bit. Maybe.
Megatron back! Megatron back!
Megatron back! Oh, happy day! Rip in peace.
Yeah, rip in peace. To him and Terrorsaur.
So, huge quality dip with those two gone, let me tell you.
May they continue fighting on in Silicon Valhalla.
Nice. Matrix Valhalla.
So we're back at the Maximal base, and Tarantulas is there, and he has every Maximal pointing a weapon at him. And I'm like, holy shit, Tarantulas in the Axelon. Which I know he's been there before, but
it's been like a recon. He's been a sneaky bitch before.
Yeah,
he's never just been there.
He's infiltrated, but here he just came in through the front door. And by the front door, I mean the elevator platform.
And he's like, hear me out. I hate all of you, but if you give me access to your pathetic inferior scanners, I'll find the alien base for you dipshits. And they're like, or we could just fuck you up because you're a huge piece of shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of with them on that one.
Yeah.
What is it? What happens here? Optimus stops them and he's like, no, let him do it. Is that what happens? Yeah.
Yeah, so basically Tarantulas is like like the Maximals are like, oh, you're just here to to divert our attention away or whatever. And Tarantulas is like, oh, if Megatron wanted you scrap, he would have done so. He wants you busy. I want to know why. Give me access to your shitty computer. God damn it.
Yeah.
And
that's what I said. Give me access to your shitty scan abilities. He complains about it when he uses it too.
He does, yeah. And Rhinox.
Not in Cheetor though.
And Rhinox.
Let's just fuck this guy.
And Rhinox is like, he says to Rat Trap, he's like, well, you brought him in, so why? What do you think? Tell me something. And
give me a reason why I shouldn't slag him.
And Rat Trap's like, well, that biodome has Optimus in it, and right now that spider's our only chance to get him back.
So Rhinox is kind of like, good point.
So he
gives him access.
Yeah, presses some buttons, gives him access. Do it carefully. And yeah,
your scanning system is pitiful. Did you learn nothing
from the alien discs?
Wow, you're running Windows XP?
Oh, Windows Vista. We're already on Windows 10. If you're going to be generations behind, why would it be Vista?
Actually, it's Windows ME. Do you remember that?
Sorry, I started coughing.
Windows ME, Millennium Edition.
Yeah. My grandpa had it on his computer for a
Oh, is
little
that
while.
like a solid, that was in use for a solid 5 months, maybe less?
Yeah, basically. It was a weirdly... It was like a shittier version of Windows 98.
Just came out years later.
Yeah, it came out like 2 years after Windows 98. But
Man,
it was
there were
like...
so many problems with that.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's basically what the Maximals are running here.
Yeah.
But they don't trust, just like old people, they don't trust him to update their OS. They're like, no, I don't want you deleting my files.
You'll get me viruses.
You'll download viruses. Then the viruses will get rid of my pictures of my grandson and my emails.
And all of my slideshow of when we went to Las Vegas last summer.
And my high scores in solitaire.
It'll delete my pogo.com account, and I don't want that deleted. I really enjoy that.
Anyways, enough ripping on portals and old people that don't know how to use computers.
Right. Yeah, anyway, so Tarantula Man picks up the flyers, Waspinator and Inferno, flying back to the now floating biodome. And he's all
holding
like,
transwarp. What are they holding?
Oh shit, transwarp signatures. They're carrying transwarp drives. We must attack now. And
so they took it from the ship?
From the dark side, yeah. That was the important mission. So it was actually an important mission.
So why didn't they teleport the ship to the dark side?
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
No?
Why here?
Can it only teleport between those two spots? Presumably it can just fly around.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, we haven't actually seen it fly per se. We've seen it do its space teleport thing. And hover.
Right. Hover and shoot off onto space, and yeah. So outside of these two spaces, maybe
it can only, I don't know, maybe it's kind of like the if you remember going back all the way back to the beginning of season 1, Equal Measures, maybe it's like teleporting only works at certain points.
Oh, right. Waypoints or something.
Yeah. So this thing was able to be manifest essentially at its original site, its point of origin, and it can teleport to the site where Inferno found the alien disc because that's another alien site.
So maybe it can teleport to all the alien sites?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but
it's perplexing. I did not see this as a kid. I swear I didn't. Maybe I did. But I'm scratching my head. I have no idea where this is going, man. So I'm excited to see what actually happens, or if any of these questions are answered. But won't be disappointed if there aren't. Anybody that's been on the journey this long, you have to come to terms with things not having answers.
At least not yet.
At least not yet. Oh, Optimus Primal, how good to see you awake. How do you like my chair?
I designed it myself, yes. It is designed for a big and tall fellow like me.
You wouldn't understand. Megatron, you wear heels. Anyways, I
You're
made
just
this.
fat.
You're just jelly because you have that gorilla gut, while I have this slim, trim waist.
I'm glad you're awake because I wouldn't want you to sleep all the way through our journey home. Home? You're taking this thing back to Cybertron? Quite, yes.
Cybertron. And Optimus is like, but you can't. Mom said that the alien ship has to be shared and has to stay here.
There's this one. I don't care. There's this one restaurant on the outskirts of Iacon City that I really miss. The
And
food
I want
was
to show up in style.
the food was cheap, but the clientele was of class.
Imagine their faces when I show up driving
In
this son of a
in my
bitch.
in my brand new alien biodome limousine. Cheers.
Think of how much Cybertronian pussy I'll get.
uh,
I can share with you, Optimus.
all you need to do is join me. You can have my sloppy seconds.
I'll even let you watch. And Optimus is like, that's madness. You can never take this thing back to Chili's. I don't care if it's your favorite restaurant or not. And he's like, I didn't say Chili's.
I said Chipotle. Cheers.
An even worse dinner place to eat food.
But yeah, Megatron's all like, yes, I will take this back to Cybertron and destroy the Maximals and the Autobots too. And then Optimus, like, hilariously enough, is like, you're mad!
The boss sure thinks big. You're mad. That's a great soundbite.
You're mad!
Optimus Primo. Sorry, go ahead.
I definitely, like, oversold it there, but...
You did.
Like,
It was a disappointing you're mad. No.
you're mad!
And he's like, Optimus Primal, maximize! He says it with sass. But the coils, like, wrapped around him are just like the coils that had him when he was in the last alien biodome. And they shock him instead of letting him transform.
There will be no heroics today, Optimus Primal, no. With you and this weapon as trophies, the Predacon Alliance will see that the conquest of Cybertron is the only true path.
That's quite the fucking statement.
Right? Like, I mean, like Quick Strike said, the boss sure has, what do you say, like, lofty ambitions or whatever?
Yeah, no shit. If that doesn't get him Quick Strike's loyalty, I can't see what would.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, like this is some like huge power plays by Megatron. If he could actually like direct the ship where he wants it to. As far as we know, it just teleports to this mountain. And indeed, wait, what's going on here? How are the Maximals flying to the mountaintop? What do we got here?
Silverbolt flies
and Cheetor?
in. And Cheetor, yes.
Cheetor is holding Dinobot, and Silverbolt is holding Rhinox. Wow. I'm amazed they can hold either of them. That doesn't make any sense. Rhinox is like twice or three times the size of Silverbolt, and Dinobot's easily twice the size of Cheetor. They need to move the plot forward. Is it
That
And
that has a degree of plausibility to it, whereas like Cheetor flying around carrying Dinobot,
looks
like
weird. It doesn't seem.
that doesn't seem physically possible.
No, it's no. It reminds me of like Optimus not being able to fly with anyone but Rat Trap, but then in
Right.
later episodes it shows him carrying other people besides Rat Trap.
Right. Whatever the plot dictates. Cheers.
Oh wow, you Maximals got here really quickly. If only I had some sort of ability to teleport.
Blast! There are too many.
So they start shooting at Megadome's ovipositor.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, that tickles." Predacons, go get him! Stop him!
Sick 'em.
Sick 'em, boys!
And
Oh, he says something important here. There's a back and forth. Yeah, Inferno's like, "Royalty, the Maximals are attacking." And there's a giant vid window magically that shows the outside. By the way, the window, it doesn't show as if there's a camera on the outside of the ship. It shows it the ship like in the vid window. I just caught that. As if like the video is being taken like a few hundred feet away in the air. Did you catch that?
So it's like drone footage.
Yeah, it's like drone footage of it. Little
That's
things like
funny.
that you never notice as a kid, but
No.
I'm starting to notice all the time.
I've been noticing that I think I've mentioned on the show before that I've been over the course of the past year or so, basically since the pandemic started, I've been slowly rewatching through Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I've noticed on that show too.
Just magical drone footage that's
Yeah.
showing them video somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, it's not as frequent as it is in this show, but it definitely happens. And
So yes, sorry. So Optimus says something cool here. He's like, better cancel your appearance before the alliance.
right.
And Megatron's like, oh, on the contrary. A few more captives could only enhance it. And I'm like, captives?
Yeah, I mean, if he succeeds in taking them prisoner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not show up with Cybertron with some maximal hostages?
Yeah, behead them before the Predacon High Council.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's something he would do.
That's how you fucking do it. Like bring these like do-gooder Maximals before the Predacon Council, who Megatron has complained in the past like aren't doing enough to like in the name of Predacon glory. So bring these guys in front of them and be all like, off with your heads, cheers. Now
And
follow
then take
me.
over.
And then take over.
Yeah.
And
So
Rat Trap and
Silverbolt and yeah. Go ahead.
Rat Trap and Tarantulas. So the Maximals withdraw because they're all like, we've drawn them out, fall back. And so Rat Trap and Tarantulas like duck into back into the ship.
The whole thing was a ruse, basically. As they all run away, Tarantulas and Rat Trap, which coincidentally they are both like the stealthy infiltrator types.
Yeah.
Are left to do some sort of plan we haven't seen them discuss.
Yeah. And so Tarantulas fucks off on Rat Trap, and he's all like, damn, that spider.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah, they're mid-sentence, and he looks away, and when he looks back, Tarantulas is gone.
Yeah. Pulls a Batman. Good way of putting it.
Yeah. So he has his own objectives here.
As always. Cheers.
Yeah.
So
What
Megatron,
happens here? He powers something up?
yeah, back in the throne room, Megatron is all like, he presses some button and is all like, lock in coordinates. We're going back to Cybertron, boys. Cheers.
Okay, I get it now. So what were those energy batteries they took from the dark side called again?
Transwarp cells.
The transwarp cells. Earlier it showed them all connecting it to that like matrix computer
Yeah.
at one end of the hall.
Yeah.
Presumably those cells are to power the ship's like teleportation engines.
Yeah, to transwarp them back to Cybertron.
See, I never picked that up when I had watched it earlier. Okay. So it's to power the ship, which makes me wonder, like, how was the ship powered before? Or is it just making it faster? I
think it's just giving it more juice. Like, before the ship could probably like transport around the planet, I would assume to different alien sites, but like putting transwarp drives into the equation like actually gives it the ability, like the power boost and the capabilities
jump across the galaxy
to
or
jump,
something.
to jump across the galaxy and literally through time to go back to Cybertron.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
And Rat Trap with the biggest balls in the world just like walks right out onto like the main foyer of the alien ship with all the Preds. And he's like, leaving without me, without saying goodbye? Gee, I'm hurt.
Fuck you, Rat Trap. I don't have time for your shit right now.
Everyone? No, if I saw anybody except you, I'd be fine. But god damn it, I swear if you fuck this up. And he's like, I don't have time for your shit. And Rat Trap is like, make time! And he pulls his gun out. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah.
And he fires off 2 shots and like leaps away, and then
You missed.
Megatron returns fire and is all like, "Ha, you missed, you stupid bastard."
And Optimus is like, or did he? So
Actually, fuck you, Megatron.
No, fuck you.
And yeah, so Rat Trap shot the shackles that were holding Optimus. So now Optimus is free and is like,
he's airboarding around.
Yep. Knocks Megatron out of the throne. And he tells Rat Trap, he's like, stop the teleport sequence. And Rat Trap's like, teleport sequence?
What?
What? Wait, what?
Fill me in.
Go back a few steps.
I like that all of this is happening, and presumably all of the Predacons are standing there watching.
Yeah, where are they even?
You
don't see any of them in this shot.
They're in the chamber. They're there. They're just not important for the plot right now because it would be overwhelming numbers.
Fair.
So they're just like chilling on the side, not doing anything.
So Megatron,
right? Where are they? They were just standing there moments earlier.
Gotta save money, time and money, damn it.
Maybe they took off because of Rat Trap's horrifying presence. Yeah.
Or his smell.
So
he is a rat.
Or his smell. So
who likes stinky cheese.
There's kind of like a Godzilla versus King Kong fight between the two in their beast modes, which I appreciate.
Except it's happening in midair.
It's happening in midair. And Rat Trap takes kind of a Han Solo pose, which I just caught. He does that a lot, though. Like he has big Han Solo energy. But he can't take a shot because he might hit Optimus.
Destroy the control chair.
And I'm like, why would that do anything?
I know. Like when I
You
watched
too?
this
Okay.
earlier, I was like, no, just like destroy the thing that the transwarp cells are hooked up to,
Yeah, like the main
or
drive.
or destroy the thing that the golden disc is connected
Yeah, but out
to.
of everything, the chair?
Yeah, why
The
would that
chair
do
that
anything?
like Megatron like made?
Yeah, shoot, shoot the thing that the golden disc is connected
Yeah, there
to.
you
The
go.
thing that's actually like counting down. Like we see like a symbol like countdown.
Yeah.
Like a countdown
Or hell,
represented
pick up the
by
golden
symbols
disc.
on it. Yeah, yeah, or that. Yeah,
Take it.
yeah. Take it and be all like, "See you later, fuckers," and
Yeah.
leave.
And to that point, after he destroys the command chair, the little disc goes do 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 and like counts down like again anyway.
Yeah,
So I
shit didn't work, yo.
it didn't work. And I'm like, Optimus, you're a good leader and everything, but sometimes just dumb.
You're a good leader. You're not the idea man of the team. You know.
No. Leave the ideas to Rhinox and Rat Trap.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of which, Rat Trap goes, well, guess we're going for a ride. As if he's like exhausted all of his options. Because he does. He blows up the chair and nothing happens. And we get some more
And
close
so,
up shots.
okay, so here's my thing with all of this.
And Tarantulas is here. Sorry, go ahead.
Why not get everyone into this thing, teleport back to Cybertron,
And then
and go
stop
home, and then deal with the aliens?
Well, Optimus's idea is that he doesn't want the aliens to know the location of Cybertron.
Sure, I get that.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now they're like, how many of them are there? They're like what, like 7 of them at this
Sure.
point?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Not even because Tigatron and Airazor are gone now.
They're
So
gone. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there are only a handful of them like going up against the aliens on this planet. Like even if the aliens do learn the location of Cybertron, they have an entire planet of allies to fight against them.
Well, I guess the idea is that they could be so powerful they could just blow up Cybertron. So it's not a matter of getting more allies to help fight the aliens. It's a matter of just not letting the aliens know where the planet is at all.
True, but they haven't just simply blown up planet Energon at any
They tried.
point. Well, they tried, but that was based on like a piece of technology that was already there.
Well, presumably they're just as, if not more powerful than when they built the fake moon. Logically speaking, I would make that assumption too.
Fair.
So if that was just a failsafe, like the moon being there, then imagine their like warships would actually be competent.
But so why haven't they just come back and blown up planet Energon then?
It feels like this is all in autopilot. Do you know what I mean? Like when Unicron head came up, it just kind of felt like, we're sorry, aliens cannot be bothered to... aliens could not pick up the phone right now, but they sent me, this really shitty AI, to answer like one question before I said goodbye. Like, right? Like that interaction with like the alien was just for him to show up and go, no, you fucked up, fuck you, and then he disappeared.
Please state the nature of the medical emergency.
Please state the nature of your maximal emergency.
Fair.
But now that we're like doing this like brainstorming thing, and you know how this alien ship showed up and it was just like nobody's on it and they haven't reacted to our presence. What if all of this is like automated and set up, but the aliens themselves don't fucking exist? I mean, I'm talking to you who probably knows the answer, but I'm spitballing because I don't.
Right.
Because I mean, like, it's weird that they would just send an empty, like, super powerful ship.
Yeah,
And it had automatic defenses, like that energy blast that it shot out. But otherwise, nobody's fucking home.
Well, yeah, and like I was mentioning earlier, like every other alien device or installation has seemed to have had a point so far, but this one doesn't really.
Yeah, and as far as if the aliens were actually paying attention, like I said, maybe it's a super ancient alien race that died off, and all of this was like their old experiments.
Right.
But if they were still alive, one would argue, hey, they blew up our moon. Hey, they're foiling our plot. Should we actually go in person now? Yeah, sure. Send
Yeah.
like the rookie. Instead of just
Send the
like
rookie.
letting all of these automated like things happen. Because it feels very automated, right? Like, oh, somebody interacted with the plants. So when someone interacted with the plants, they wrapped them up. Then an energy beam was shot out, and they were like teleported away. And then like this thing came down. It's
You're
all been reactionary, right?
you're thinking like ancient technology in Stargate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Automated. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because
I started to see where like you were going with that.
yeah, exactly. To the point where it's like meant to last for millennia, just in case someone interacts with it.
Right.
Because if we think about it, the standing stones, those only like fucked shit up after Pterosaur like blew up the Energon in it.
For some reason.
For I vividly remember that scene. He smiles and like shoots the standing stones. Um, for no reason. Like stop
And even
shooting at the
Megatron is all like, "You fool!
yeah.
You've destroyed the Energon.
Well,
Let's
goodbye.
get out of here. Back to base."
And let's see what was another site. The floating island.
Yeah.
That was automated pretty much, but it was meant to have like a control in the tower. I don't know, man. I'm just the ancient aliens guy now. I got conspiracy theories, but I'll put that on hold. Maybe they're all just fucking dead. I don't know. Their ways are mysterious. I want some answers, damn it.
Well, perhaps we'll get them someday.
That day certainly isn't in the last 25 years, but someday.
So Tarantula swoops down and interfaces with the transwarp
What is he
drives,
doing?
and he's all like, "Download program Viron," which I'm like, really, Viron? Because the last time we heard him interface with a transwarp drive, he was like, "Download Datatrax Archon," and now he's like, Viron, like virus.
Download Datatrax Viron, right?
Right.
So what is he doing here? I'm so confused.
He's rigging.
He's running into the
He's
alien ship.
He's rigging the transwarp cells to explode.
Oh, and that's why they glow red. Silly me.
Yeah.
So,
And so
is his goal to destroy Cybertron, or is his goal just to foil Megatron, or is his goal he hates the aliens and he just wants to blow the ship up?
He wants to foil Megatron, and he also hates the aliens.
Okay.
He does not want Megatron to succeed.
Why did he help him even get this far? Remember, he helped Megatron put the golden disc in the control panel.
Right.
He didn't have to do that.
Well, at the time, I think he thought that Megatron... Because remember, like, they were working together, and, like, the idea was that, like, we're going to take the aliens' power and destroy them, basically.
Right. But then Megatron was like, actually, I want to go home.
Yeah. Megatron
Screw
was
you
like,
guys. I'm going home.
Actually, now that I have the power, fuck you, Tarantulas. I don't need you anymore. I'm just going to take this ship back to Cybertron. Cheers.
Have a nice trip. See you next fall.
Oh wait, you've been cancelled. You're not coming back next fall. No.
Have fun.
Have fun in reruns.
Okay. So a bitch. So Tarantulas, when he's in his car mode, yeah, he sounds like a motorcycle, which I've never mentioned till now. He leaves the enemy, this alien base, so fast. He's actually screaming when he does it, which I found humorous. Again,
Yeah.
no idea where the other Predacons. Were they in here?
Still don't know.
Yeah. So Rat Trap's like, it's gonna blow.
I like how Rat Trap put that together just from like seeing Tarantulas like speed off screaming.
Yes. Yeah, his demolitions man instincts are triggered. He's like, okay. Also, why didn't they work together for that? Right? I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know.
we get a POV shot from the inside of Megatron's mouth for some reason, which is kind of cool. Have we seen that before? It's only like a split second. Did you notice that on 1958? Optimus is like lined up, and we get a shot from the inside of his mouth, all of his dinosaur teeth.
I did not. No.
And Optimus is like, psych, and moves out of the way, and Megatron bites an energy coil and knocks himself out. And I love this line. Optimus like floats by before grabbing the golden disc, and he's like, or near the golden disc, and he's like, this time you lose, Megatron. And Megatron gets up and he shakes his head comically, and his eyes go big, and he like, huh? Stares across the chamber, and he notices that all of the batteries are glowing red.
Yep. All the transwarp cells are about to explode, and he's all like, "Ah!"
So everybody's quite aware that
time
this
to
is
go, motherfuckers.
He actually beats the others out. Yeah, the Maximal's out. So Rat Trap hops on Optimus's surfboard, and they all escape.
Yeah, they all fly out.
As they're leaving, Megatron shouts, "Predacons, retreat!" And I'm like, who are you talking to? Right?
They seemingly left already.
I'm perplexed about where they were. At one point, they were in the ship, and then they weren't. Isn't that weird? Pretty glaring plot hole. Or not plot hole. I don't know what you would call that. Inconsistency.
Continuity error.
Yeah, there we go.
Speaking of holes, the
the tentacle warp.
Yeah, the tentacle warp. So the alien biodome attempts to transport away into the tentacle hole in space, but before it gets there, it explodes
spectacularly.
Actually, I was kind of underwhelmed by it, honestly, considering how many transwarp cells were connected to it.
Oh, fair. Should have made like a mini black hole or some shit.
Yeah, because like at the end of Other Voices Part 2, like one transwarp cell blowing up the alien planet buster like created this like massive like holy shit explosion.
Well, I was under the impression it wasn't the transwarp drive, it was the alien like planet buster that actually blew up and made that shockwave.
Well, yes, the quantum surge, yes, but like still that was a pretty big explosion for just one transwarp drive. But here we have several transwarp drives and another alien device exploding in space. And
Christopher, they were red.
It's pretty underwhelming.
They were red. Their power was drained.
Oh, they were only at 75% power.
Or something, I don't know. Only at 75%. but it'll have to do.
They were in power save mode. Yes.
So, unless I missed anything, anybody listening and watching along with us, if you can answer me where the rest of the frickin' Predacons were for like the last 10 minutes of the episode, at one point they were in the ship and then they weren't. So Megatron's like, Predacons, retreat! You're not talking to anybody, dude. In fact, on the screen, literally no one else is around him.
Well, I remember there was like early on, the Maximals like started attacking the biodome, and then the Predacons like flew out to engage with them, and then like I think it was Dinobot or Rhinox was like, "We've drawn them out, retreat."
Right. And I guess they were all just left out there?
And I guess none of them decided to just be like, okay, well, the Maximals are leaving. I guess we'll go back inside now.
Yeah, they just hung around outside?
Yeah.
Oh.
I suppose?
Yeah, let's just... They just hung around outside the ship. Or maybe Waspinator was like, I'm not giving any of you a ride back. And he just flew off. There we go. That's what happened, folks.
Yeah, Waspinator flew off and was all like, Waspinator, listen to Iron Butterfly. Yeah, so the Maximals are standing on top of like a snowy mountain, and Rat Trap's like, oh, when these alien gizmos blow, they really blow. And I'm like, that was an underwhelming explosion compared to what we've seen before.
Nothing's good enough for you.
Nothing's good enough for me. Never satisfied.
Yes, the explosion was red, but I wanted it to be bigger, damn it.
But I wanted it to be purple. Cheers.
So, Cheetor kind of brings up, well, what about Airazor and Tigatron? If their sparks are still online, we'll get them back. And I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Sure.
Yep. And the camera pans up ominously, and we see two twinkling stars in the sky. And I'm like, I'm looking at this, and I'm like, wow, their sparks are really far apart. Like, straight up in like different solar systems. Holy shit. Well,
if they're as far away as other stars, then yes, they're very far away from each other. But if they're actually very close, then to the planet, and they're making that light, then technically they're not that far apart.
Yes.
Only a matter of hundreds or thousands of kilometers rather than whole light years away from each other.
Actually, a light year is a measure of distance and not a unit of time.
I think I made that pretty clear. Speaking of units of time, we've spent a lot of cycles on these two episodes.
Yep, more than intended. So, yeah.
Time to leave our too much Energon rating. Here on the show, Christopher and I try to give it we've got a 3-point system here. We have not enough Energon, a sufficient amount of Energon, and too much Energon. Too much Energon being great, and not enough Energon being womp womp. Christopher, how do you feel about these guys?
I'm giving part 1 a very low too much Energon.
Ooh, okay.
A very, very low too much Energon. Like, it's kind of on the cusp between that and a high sufficient Energon.
Right, okay.
And I think it might just be because, like, this is the first episode since Aftermath in season 2 that I've actually really, really liked.
where shit actually happens that progresses the plot.
Yeah. Yeah. Part 2, I'm only giving a sufficient amount of Energon because, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't feeling episode 2
Not
nearly as
feeling the
much as
Megadome?
not feeling the Megadome.
Hmm.
What about you? What do you have to say?
They both get a sufficient amount of Energon from me.
Mm,
I mean, like I can't just grade them comparing them to the rest of season 2, which hasn't been great
that is
because
fair, yeah.
they're much better. But like, I shit does happen that I wouldn't expect. Like, where did Airazor and Tigatron go? Also, it's actually like kind of showing that the Transformers do have a sexuality. So that's hard for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really like that it finally showed that Airazor and Tigatron are indeed a couple.
Right.
And it showed that Black Arachnia was interested in, for some perplexing reason, Silverbolt.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. So yeah, we're getting somewhere. But like Rock'em Sock'em Rhinox and
Megatron ripping the arm off of the skin, like the
that makes up
flesh.
for it. That's pretty good.
That was pretty bad. Like shockingly, like wow. Also, I really like in episode 2, the Maximals working with Rat Trap and the Maximals working with Tarantulas. Like that's
Yeah.
something I never thought I would have seen. Like Tarantulas in the Maximal base, like actually kind of helping them. I was like, wow, holy shit.
And Tarantula's just being finally like just declaring his independence.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's just something together. I think they get a. I don't know, man. Something doesn't. It's missing a little something.
I think if I'm grading them together, they're both getting a sufficient Energon.
Yeah, I'm grading them together.
Yeah.
And they get a sufficient amount of Energon. Well, that's the show, folks.
That
it only
is.
went on an hour and a half longer than we wanted it to.
Not quite, but close. Cheers.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Gonna tell them how tell the listeners how they can support us.
Yes. Please creep us on Facebook. Facebook.com/toomuchenergon. And you can show us the pictures of your Transformers toys, if you have any, or if you're that one person that bought the fucking Airazor shirt, show it off. Why not?
Yep.
If you want to listen to the podcast on browser, you can visit our webpage, www.toomuchenergon.ca. We also have links to various things for the show there. Christopher, do you know if we have a link for our merch on the website?
Yeah, we speaking of dude buying the fucking Airazors t-shirt, we have a merch store on tpublic.com. So go to tpublic.com/2TOO-much-energon. And it'll take you to our store where you can buy. We got a handful of new shirt. I made this this TeePublic store months ago, but didn't really do much with it. But I revamped it recently, so we got 3 t-shirt designs for Too Much Energon. We also got 3 t-shirt designs for our other podcast, Alphanumeric. So check those out.
Yeah. And Christopher, are we still doing the Ghost in the Shell giveaway?
Yes, but that is not related to
That
this
is not this podcast. Never mind. Editor, edit that out.
Yes.
Also,
Yes,
side
I will.
note, editor, that's Christopher, and you won't. Sorry, wrong podcast. But yes, you can send us an email, and we'll read it out on the show, even if it is a scathing review, at too much energon@outlook.com.
Yeah, and I think that about does it. We'll be back next week with the 8th episode of season 2, Bad Spark. This is an episode I remember quite well. I also don't remember liking it very much. So
I'm sure you'll love it this time.
Who knows? Who knows? I might.
Good point. It could 180 and you could love it, just like
Yep.
Energon farts.
Yeah, we've had a number of episodes like that where I'm like, oh, I love this episode when I was a kid, and I'm watching it now, and I'm like, it's not that great, or vice versa. Yeah,
I've been pleasantly surprised.
Me too, and also quite disappointed at times, much like watching this season.
Me too.
So look
Think
out
of
for
it
that.
this way: we have nowhere to go but up.
Cheers.
We say it with our nervous Megatron smile.
We have gone way over time, so
Okay.
we're gonna get out of here. I have been one of your hosts, Christopher Siege,
I'm your other host, NeoCal.
and until next week,
Beast mode.
Waspinator is like iron butterfly.
In a garden of freedom, honey, don't you know that I'm loving you? In a garden of freedom, baby, don't you know that I'll always be true? Oh, won't you come with me and take my hand? Oh, won't you come with me and walk this line? Please take my hand. Let me tell you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dear, 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 dear.
That's how you tell how insane we've gotten with podcasts, is when we just start like humming songs from the 60s. When we start humming songs for the 60s, it's time for us. Okay, have a good night, everybody.